Hello? Hello? Looks pretty live. Are we live? Live to keep watching some more of my old movesets? Live to keep watching some... It would help if I didn't have the same stream on in the background to echo on me. There we go. How's everyone doing today? You all doing good? You all taking care of yourselves? You all practicing self-care? I certainly hope so. So, I know I said yesterday that I was going to have Brian for today, since the first video we're going over is Klonoa. Unfortunately, bad timing struck. Brian actually is out of town today. He's going to visit his family to see his new niece. He is recently a brand new uncle, so bad timing on that part. But Brian was nice enough at the very least to go ahead and watch the video, and he gave me a he did go ahead and give me his own list of changes that he would make. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna watch the video first. I'm gonna kind of throw my ideas in beforehand, and then we'll read Brian's ideas and see where it goes from there. I don't think my ideas are gonna really be able to be that be that impactful, because I know very little about Klonoa. I've seen the first two games in action. I'm a little more familiar with the first game. I've seen a Let's Play of the second game once or twice, and that's about it. And then I know pretty much next to nothing about majority of the spin-off games or the other Klonoa titles in general. So, alrighty, you guys ready to get started? One question, is your moveset videos premieres? I don't quite understand your question. Did I abandon the Pokemon Unite series? No, I didn't abandon it. I'd like to get back to it at some point. Oops. I will let you guys know if there's ever a series that I just choose not to pick back up. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started.
So, normally BJ is the one who makes these kinds of videos, but he's busy groaning over Yokai Watch 3 not being out in the States yet.
Outdated.
So he'll be out of commission for the video. That being said, I am here!
And thus started this whole shtick. Oh my, this terrible. I could have added... Past BJ, what are you doing not fixing easy things like this? Or at least finding a higher quality render of All Might.
And character choices for Smash are still abundant.
Probably just going to start skipping a lot of this, because this is a long one. Oh yeah, I forgot I did a little edit in there. That's funny. Alright, Klonoa. This is also the first episode where, yeah, somebody else aside from me hosted the video.
So, Klonoa, the Bandai Namco mascot character who originally debuted on the PlayStation with Door to Phantomile, had a remake on the Wii, and a few spin-off games for the Game Boy Advance where, as a dream traveler, you protected people's dreams from nightmares, having fun, family-friendly moments of beating up the clown henchman, to dark moments like someone's entire being getting possessed and morphed by the very embodiment of sorrow. Pretty for everyone. However, cutesy floof and nightmare fuel can only do so much to make you a fighter. I mean, just ask Kirby. So, let's go over Klonoa the Fighter, starting with his character attributes. Now, contrary to popular belief, Klonoa is not a ripoff of Sonic. He's actually not even known for his speed, so his walk speed and running speed would be relatively...
That's just a character design thing, right? People make that joke because the character designs look similar. Is that all that is?
average, maybe slightly faster than Mario, and by slightly, I mean you'd only really notice the difference if they ran side by side next to each other. However, due to being Cursing no Klonoa, his airspeed would be godlike, making him a medium-weight floaty character similar to Lucario, but with better...
I see the bits and pieces of the white that I did not get out of this render. Oof.
Air mobility. He'd be capable of double jumping and wall jumping, however, he wouldn't be capable of wall clinging or crawling. His neutral jab would be a 1-2 punch and the final hit be a 180-degree spin as he launches his opponents with his ear floof. His dash attack would be...
Okay, simple jab.
...him jumping on his airboard and rushing towards his opponents. The dash attack would cover a lot of distance and the hitbox would be active at the start of the move.
This should probably be changed, because this seems a little forced. Because the idea of, like, the airboard thing... Doesn't Sandy Cheeks have a move like that, though, in Nickelodeon as well? I feel like in this context, though, this could probably go. I'm curious to see what Brian will have to say about that once I read over his notes afterwards.
However, due to the distance covered, the move would have quite a bit of end lag, so no spamming. His side tilt would be a horizontal swing with his wind sword.
What? Another sword fighter? Are we cursed to forever have too many swords?
Shut up and let me talk. Klonoa's sword swing would cover a bit.
Okay, that joke did kind of still age pretty well, I'd say. Also, that was a cameo from Ryan. That was Ryan voicing that little character.
Bit of range. Around Marth's range for his forward tilt. Up tilt would be an overarching swing with his sword, would have decent knockback, have a bit of range, and be used as an anti-air. Marth's range.
The side tilt's fine.
Up tilt would be an overarching swing with his sword, would have decent knockback, have a bit of...
Up tilt I feel a little fickle on. I'm gonna say possibly change for this one.
range and be used as an anti-air. Down tilt would be a quick swipe at the ground with his ears, which could pop opponents up in the air for a bit to start your combo strings.
That's fine.
For Klonoa's side smash, he'd whip out his big hammer. See, he's not just swords. Klonoa would swing the hammer right in front of him, slamming it into the ground, very similar to Dedede's forward smash. This would be Klonoa's hardest hitting attack and KO at very low damage. His up smash, however, would...
That one's probably fine. I think it might just need a slightly different animation. So I'll just say for this one.
Very similar to Dedede's forward smash. This would be Klonoa's hardest hitting attack and KO at very low damage. His up smash, however, would be a heavy swing that goes into the Z-axis. Why this matters is that there are some characters who can utilize the Z-axis to dodge attacks, like Cloud's up air for example. Klonoa's up smash could still hit them. His down smash would be a
Okay, so we have the hammer being all of his smash attacks. I think the up smash is probably fine.
Hammer swing towards the ground, again similar to Dedede. This hammer was one of the many weapons Klonoa could use in the Japanese exclusive Game Boy Advance title known as Klonoa Hero Densetsu no Star Medal.
I kind of wish that I actually made the image. Like, this was back when I was mostly, borrowing footage, from YouTube before I really had, the means of being able to, find, either emulators or whatnot and record the footage that way. So that's why a lot of this footage looks way grainier than it does nowadays. I try to do my best to make sure that, you guys also get, high quality looking videos and not, all this grainy stuff that I was, for some reason, okay with back then. Thank you so much, Isaac Smith, for the $10. Hey BJ, I know you said you don't want to do videos on movesets that you didn't make yourself, but can I at least send you one I did? You don't need to make a video, want to just take a look? Only if it's a character that I have not made, that I have made a moveset for on. If it's a character that I have not made a moveset for, then I'm sorry, I don't want to see it. At least until I make a video on that character, because you guys saw what happened yesterday when I thought of the idea for Waluigi throwing his dice as a part of his neutral special. You guys went and brought up how apparently that's also a move. That's a move that people have already given him in like Super Smash Flash or whatever, and that immediately made me no longer want to use it. So you guys saw what happened to me there. So don't. That's why like I'm super self-conscious about that kind of thing. I don't want to feel like I'm stealing ideas. Anyway.
An RPG game where Klonoa's hammer was so strong it could smash treasure chests. For Klonoa's aerials, his neutral air would be a quick front flip, similar to Pikachu's but would only hit once, has no sweet spot, but is much faster as Klonoa would only do one flip. This is in reference to a trick he can do in Klonoa 2 Lunate's Veil if he were shot out of a cannon pressing either trigger buttons.
I'd say have him flip multiple times. Why not? He's supposed to be a windy guy, and wind spins a lot, right? So he should have a lot of spinny moves, too.
Klonoa's forward air would be a horizontal spin that would hit up to 2 times. Similar to Sonic's forward air. Oh boy, here we go, we're planting the seeds. This is another...
That editing was rough.
Another trick Klonoa can do when shot out of a cannon.
That move's fine.
With similar methods. The tricks are randomly generated. Klonoa's back air would be a quick horizontal sword swing behind him, having a lot of knockback. His up air would be a quick with similar methods. The tricks are randomly generated. Klonoa's back air would be a quick horizontal sword swing.
This side changed because this is a little generic. So this side changed into something else.
Behind him, having a lot of knockback. His up air would be a quick forward to back sword slash upward, similar to Corrin's up air. And
this is also a little generic, but this is probably fine because he actually does kind of a similar move with the up tilt, but I said that one can possibly change. So I'd say one of these two moves should change. Like, I think it's fine if one of these moves is like this, but the other one can probably be changed. So I'd say let's change the up tilt, and we can keep the up air the same as it is.
Corrin's up air. And his down air is a quick sword swipe below him, similar to Meta Knight's down air, only it can spike its sweet spot.
This, I think, should be changed. This is also kind of generic. Oops. Where'd he go? There we go. I wonder if his down air should be some kind of stomp, because he is rabbit-like, right? So maybe some kind of stomp could work too. Even if that is also kind of generic, still.
Now let's get into Klonoa's trump card, his grab game. Seeing as Klonoa's whole thing in his games is grabbing opponents, Klonoa's grab would be his most outstanding feature. Klonoa would shoot a wind bullet from his ring that could cover quite a bit of...
Oh, that editing is so bad. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
...distance, and just like in the games, it
that
would
loop is so bad. Why did I do that?
Quickly. After he's hit an opponent with the wind bullet, he would carry them over his head, again, just like the enemies he grabs in-game. Klonoa would actually be able to walk around while holding enemies like this with the analog stick and only be capable of jumping once. So to throw the enemy, you have to press the A button along with the direction you want to toss your enemy to throw the opponent. If you want to pummel, you have to just press the A button with no control stick input at all. Klonoa will not be able to pummel enemies if he jumps while holding them. So if the A button is pressed while airborne, he will automatically do his down throw. His pummel would be shooting a wind bullet from the ring into the foe's back. His forward throw would be a straight toss like in the game, so it could potentially kill at high damage and at low damage set up for edge guards. Back throw would be the same as forward throw, except Klonoa throws them backwards as well as turning around in the process so he can set up for whatever follow-ups he wishes afterwards. Up throw, he shoots a stronger wind bullet into the opponent, sending them high into the air. In down throw, Klonoa throws the opponent into the ground, popping them in the air to set up for combos. These throws can be used in the air if Klonoa jumps, however to keep them from being too overpowered, their knockback is weakened. As for down throw, the opponent will be launched upwards. That way you're not some cheeky little snot endlessly spiking people off into the abyss, followed by sitting in your bedroom wondering why all your friends left you. However, Klonoa can jump off his opponents upon using down throw, very similar to how his double jump works in the actual games, essentially giving him another recovery option. With this grab game out of the way, let's talk about what a special...
Okay, the actual grabs themselves, I think, are fine. The gimmick with the grab is fine, because it still very much matches Klonoa. That down throw, like that aerial down throw, though, because we thought about the idea of where it pops those, like, kind of upward a little bit, as opposed to just spiking them. Do you guys think that would still be too strong if you use the aerial down throw, if it does send them downward? Do you guys think that would still be too strong? Because I feel like we can try to find some kind of mediation for that. Unless it's very weak. Because my one concern that I just thought about, too, is, like, if we pop them up, because Klonoa also gains height as well. So, wouldn't that actually just set Klonoa up for either B comboed himself, or make it actually very easy for Klonoa to do combos? I wonder. Okay, I have an idea here. Here's what we'll do for this. Fix it. The aerial down throw will spike opponents, but it has set knockback. Meaning, they go the same distance regardless of their damage percent. That's probably the... And the set knockback probably would have to be, like, you know, scaled. Like, it would depend on the balancing. Thank you so much, FNAF Guy Fan, for the $5. I might not watch another one of these streams until he gets to Freddy. That's fine. So that's what I'm thinking there. Like, what do you guys think of that? Like, if it just had set knockback? Speaking of Klonoa. Well, we'll keep that in mind for now. It mostly would just depend on the core balancing, and like how that would work in like for play testing and whatnot, which is unfortunately a luxury we don't have. But regardless,
boy Klonoa is, because he's an adorable, floofy cabbit boy who deserves all the love he can get, and his game deserves the time of day.
Ryan really wanted you guys to play Klonoa.
This is where the remainder of Klonoa's weapons would come into use. His neutral special would be the arm cannon. Similar to Bowser Jr.'s cannon, he can charge a shot and send a spike ball at his opponent. The damage and knockback would depend on how long he charges the attack for. And yes, I know he has 2 in the game, but we're limiting it to only 1 because 2 giant spike balls hurling at your opponent at 50 miles an hour would be pretty jank. His side special would be... throwing his shuriken. Okay, the game classifies it as a boomerang, but come on guys, that's a shuriken. Klonoa's boomerang can be thrown at...
I mean, if you hide like this part, it's shaped like a boomerang. So, I guess.
Quite the distance and return back to him. However, if you were to press B then hold the analog stick, Klonoa would do a slower swing. The boomerang wouldn't go as far, but it would spin in place for a bit before returning back to Klonoa, effectively becoming a multi-hit move. By pressing side B and immediately pushing the analog stick in another direction, Klonoa can throw his boomerang in multiple directions. Very similar to how Mega Man's Metal Blades work in Smash. And I guess you could say that they also work a bit like the Chakram discs that the Mii fighters use, but this move is actually good. His up special couldn't be anything else but his double jump. Yeah, Klonoa can jump twice, and his recovery is called double jump. But don't look at me, that's what it's called in-game. Klonoa spawns an enemy below him, and he jumps off it, shouting "Wahoo!" as he does in-game. Klonoa will get a lot of height with this, and he would be one of the few characters who can act out of his up special. However, he wouldn't be able to perform another up special unless he gets back on stage, grabs the ledge, or takes a hit. With that said, Klonoa himself would have no active hitbox, seeing as he could act out of his recovery. But the enemy he double jumps off of does have an active hitbox, making his recovery very similar to Sonic's up special. I swear he's an original character. Klonoa's down special would be the Beam Geno, a defensive shield that Klonoa can activate in front of him and would dash a little forward for a tackle. This would be a safer dash attack, but the distance traveled would be minuscule compared to his other dash attack. However, the shield would give Klonoa a special kind of invincibility called shield frames. Think of Palutena's back air and dash attack, where attacks deal no damage, no knockback, and the attack powers through. Do take note, while the Beam Genome is a shield, it is not a reflector, meaning projectile attacks would only be nullified, and the shield only covers the front of Klonoa, so he's still vulnerable from behind. Rather similar to Pit's original down B and Brawl.
Okay. So a part of me is wondering if we should even bother keeping the boomerang at all. My only thing is, again, because of just my limited knowledge on Klonoa, I'm not really sure what it'd be replaced with. Because this is a kind of move that could work as either a side special or a down special. Because there's plenty of down specials that do send you forward. So I can see why Brian would have chosen to have made, with the boomerang in mind, I see why Brian would have chosen to have made this move a down special instead of a side special. I'm going to just make a note on this real quick. Could be side special if we get rid of boomerang. Well, either the boomerang or the arm cannon. Because when I think of Klonoa is wind themed, and boomerangs I do feel like are actually a lot more, like, you know, a lot more easily associated with the wind than a cannon is. So I'm actually wondering if maybe we should nix the cannon. Or arm cannon. Again, it'll be much easier once I actually read over Brian's notes on his changes to kind of get a better idea. Alright, let's keep going for now.
Meaning projectile attacks would only be nullified, and the shield only covers the front of Klonoa, so he's still vulnerable from behind. Rather similar to Pit's original down B and Brawl. Klonoa's gimmick isn't anything too outstanding, but it's a great asset to his survivability.
Well,
in the games,
his gimmick aside from the grabbing thing, because being able to pick up characters and walk around with them, that is a gimmick. Like, Donkey Kong has that same kind of gimmick.
If you hold the jump button after a jump, Klonoa will flap his ears and hover in the air for a little bit, giving him some more airtime. As a fighter, Klonoa would be capable of floating just like that by holding the jump button after a jump. He'd only be able to do this once after a jump. However, this does mean he could do this after a double jump and his recovery. So essentially, you could jump once, hover, double jump, hover again, up special, and hover one more time. This would give Klonoa amazing stage recovery if the opponent doesn't know how to edge guard it properly.
That said, though, do you guys think that's necessary? Could this flutter just be his double jump? Like, he could just have a kind of a floaty double jump. Like his it's like Peach's gimmick, kind of like Peach's gimmick. But I think the floats, we could very easily just make it like, yeah, kind of like Yoshi, actually. Because the funny thing is, Yoshi also has a flutter jump, but they super buffed Yoshi's flutter jump in Smash. Because if you compare Yoshi's Flutter Jump and Smash compared to how it actually is used in the Yoshi's Island games, it's hugely different. So I think we could nix this mechanic and probably just make the Flutter like his natural double jump. He already has too many recovery options. Well, that's not really the problem here. Like, something I try to emphasize a lot with Smash, having a great recovery is not as broken as people seem to make it out to be. It's just not. Like, there are far more effective ways to beat your opponent as opposed to just trying to gimp them off the side. Like, if you think a character is too strong because they have amazing recovery, you got another thing coming, honestly. Like, but I think in this specific scenario, this mechanic is not necessarily needed. So we can just nix this entirely. Let's see. So, nix this. Just make his Flutter Jump his double jump.
His final smash literally can't be anything else. Klonoa's final smash would be Thunder Hurricane. While it was a super move for Namco X Capcom, Klonoa first utilized this in Klonoa Heroes as a screen nuke special, which he learned from tripping over a wire and getting electrocuted. Don't worry, he's fine. This would be a cinematic finisher that Klonoa would initiate with a sword slash, catching anyone in the attack if they were to get hit. Klonoa then spins around wildly, causing a big windstorm that would result in large lightning strikes hitting the stage, launching anyone the lightning hits.
I think the final smash is fine. I think that's a fine final smash because it's still very wind-like. So, and it is something common that, like, it is a commonality. Like, it was in 2 games, so I think that one's fine.
And now we get to the fun part, the Miss Melania section, the one that gives these fight.
Did he say miscellaneous? I shouldn't be one to talk. Mr. Speech Impediment. I should not be one to talk.
Fighters the most character, and some of them the most memes. Klonoa's stage entrance would be appearing on stage with his best friend Hubo. He raises his ring in the air and shouts, "Yepa! Repetite!"
Well, depending on the costume, that is.
Which translates to, "Hubo, let's go" in Phantomile.
Yeah, it could alternatively be Lolo, depending on his costume, yeah.
That's when Hubo goes inside the ring in order to power it up. Klonoa does this exact thing in Door to Phantomile when starting a level. Klonoa's up taunt would be him throwing the ring into the air and then catching it. This is an idle animation he's known to do in the games when you leave him alone for too long. His side taunt, Klonoa's friend Hupo appears out of the ring and circles around him. Then...
Wait. Why did we did the costumes out of order? The heck? How'd that happen?
In the games when you leave him alone for too long. His side taunt, Klonoa's friend Hupo appears out of the ring and circles around him, then flies back into the ring. Perfect way for disrespecting those who you star keyed. It's like he's saying, "Dude, you're boring, I'm gonna go play with my childhood friend now. Guns taught you well, you little snot." His down taunt, Klonoa would pull out the moon pendant from Door to Phantomile and be lost in his gaze, then snaps back reality and puts the moon pendant back. However, there's the rare occasion Klonoa will pull out a hamburger, reference to his favorite food, and Klonoa would just eat the hamburger right there.
This taunt can probably be changed. That taunt's a little weak.
He's a growing boy, leave him alone. And now let's get aesthetic up in here with his color scheme.
Yeah, how did his colors end up here before the stage, like after the stage intro and taunts? That's so weird. That might have just been how Brian recorded it, but I could have
And possible alternate costumes. This was kind of a tricky one to think about because Klonoa's actually had quite a few designs to choose from. However, it was decided on sticking with just 2 costumes just to keep it consistent with the other fighters. So we stuck with both his iconic blue zipper design and his original Door to Phantomile design, both with their own alternate colors.
That's fine.
For the blue zipper design, the white part of his fur are turned yellow.
What is this low render drawing that I made? This doesn't even look good. Oof. Yeah, this was like my first attempt, I guess, at trying to make like a proper drawing, so that way I can have the two costumes be in the same pose. But this is not a great drawing.
Black fur is brown with an all-red shirt and gray pants. This is in reference to the character Golden Fleece Guns, a bounty hunter with daddy issues who first appeared.
That said, this color also isn't the greatest, looking at it. Because we kind of already have a red one with the collar costume.
In Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament, and is playable in Beach Volleyball and Heroes. Oh, and by daddy issues, I mean he died. I mean, last I checked, I think that's an issue. Next would be Klonoa with brown and pale yellow fur with a yellow hat, a white shirt, and orange pants. This is in reference to Baloo, a stonemason from Door to Phantomile who assists you in the final boss fight and has a serious case of getting friend-zoned.
Yeah, okay, this costume's fine. Let me see this one. Guns' costume, yeah. This one can probably change.
Klonoa with orange fur and an all-pink outfit would be in reference to Lolo, a companion character and potential girlfriend.
This can change because Lolo's already a part of this, technically already a part of this moveset. Like, we didn't really emphasize it a whole lot, but for this costume in particular, it would be Lolo. Because it's the collared costume that has Hupo. So because Lolo's already a part of this, unless we were to change Lolo's color too, I think this costume can also just be changed.
From Klonoa 2, who could power the Wind Ring with her Priestess power. For the Door to Phantomile costume, Klonoa's first color would be blue fur with a yellow collar, yellow pants, and red eyes. This is in reference to the King of Sorrow, the main antagonist of Klonoa 2.
Which is interesting, because I get why we chose to have the Klonoa 1 costume have a Klonoa 2 character color, because of the collar thing. Again, though, the red. There's too much red in all these. Color spectrum, BJ. This one's a possible change. Let me see.
Klonoa with half black and half white fur with a green collar and green pants would be in reference to Tat, another antagonist who worked
again a Klonoa 2 character for the Klonoa 1 costume. This one probably also needs to be changed. Oh dear.
Alongside the Sky Pirate Lee Arena in Klonoa 2. Why do I say it like that? Well, gee, I don't know. Play the gosh darn fiddly sticking game!
Cringe.
Please? And lastly, Klonoa with completely white fur with a red and yellow outfit, pink gloves and shoes
the
would
red.
be in reference
The
to
red.
Joka, an antagonist from...
Like, it's fine for the color, like the fur color, but there's just too much red in these colors. I'd say this one, yeah, another possible change. Like, I get, like, these colors came up because they're references to other characters, but, like, there's just... The color spectrum! The color spectrum!
Antagonist Gaudius.
Yeah, like, if we look at all these side by side, like, there's too much red. Too many warm colors here. These are definitely gonna... Like, the Baloo costume's fine. These three probably need to get fixed around. This one, I think, is okay-ish. And this one, I don't know. Yeah, these colors weren't very good.
For winning poses, Klonoa's first victory pose would be spinning around to create a gust of wind and assuming his usual victory pose, where he crosses his arms, points both fingers, and his ears flow triumphantly. He also shouts, "Padu!" a casual way of saying affirmative in Phantomile. His second victory pose is Klonoa riding his airboard, performs a spin, and ends the pose with a triumphant pop-off as he holds his hat in the air and shouts, "Churapa!" which is Phantomile for thanks. This is in reference to a trick Klonoa can do in Klonoa 2 by pressing either shoulder buttons while on the airboard.
This one's a possible change.
The final victory pose, Klonoa does a backflip, fist bumps the air, and shouts, "Repete!" A more casual way of saying, "let's go" in Phantomile. Yes, I know a little bit of what the Phantomile language translates to. Don't be a fanboy of anything, kids. It makes you overextend in places you don't always need to. This is in reference to his intro animation in Klonoa Beach Volleyball. Yes, that was a thing.
This one's a little weak. And I'm already noticing actually kind of a very noticeable, like, issue here with these victory animations. None of them include Lolo or Hupo. You think that'd be something very easy for us to have included, but I guess we just didn't. We didn't. So, include Lolo / Hupo, and I'm gonna have that as well. I'm probably gonna. I may need to have that for all of these actually. Because there's really no reason to not have those two appear in like, you know, in them in general.
But only in the UK. And there you have it, Klonoa as a Smash fighter, if Bandai Namco were to ever remember this character existed.
Okay. Yeah, so this one, on my first glance, I'm seeing a lot of things that probably do need to get adjusted for this. So, I'm going to go ahead and read off Brian's notes here. He did give me a nifty little, like, you know, paragraph in summary. So these are Brian's words, my apologies, as to what he would do for this moveset. So let's see. If I were to redo the moveset, the first thing I'd do is inform all of you uncultured swines who still ask who he is to buy the new remake collection. It's on everything, so you literally have no excuse not to get it. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Be hilarious if that was all he wrote. So you've been ordered, folks. Buy the remake collection. Give Namco Bandai incentive to want to make more Klonoa games. Okay. For more serious changes, I'd add more emphasis on Klonoa's grappling abilities. So the first change I would be, instead of his 3-hit jab, I would actually have a command grab as his jab. I don't think I agree with that, Brian. Sorry. Jabs are kind of supposed to be like a basic, like, dependable, like, go-to, like, thing for you to, like go-to just, like, attack that you can go for. So replacing your jab entirely with a command grab, especially when you already have your grab, that, I don't know. Once grab, Klonoa either presses A again to toss the foe, run around with the foe, or use them to double jump without wasting his normal double jump. Essentially giving him the ability to jump 3 times. Enemies can either... Well, that's already his grab. So, I'm not quite sure what he means by that. No, sorry, Brian, I don't agree with that. Sorry. Hit stun on thrown scales with damage. The lower the percent, the sooner the foe can regain control after being thrown, and so, well, that's just usual Smash mechanics, though. And make it so that the opponents aren't just jab and thrown off the stage too early. Starting off with hit stun extremely low, making jab not the best tool for the start of rounds, but making it better for... Look at this is already his grab. Brian, did you not actually watch the episode? Did you not watch your own Klonoa video, Brian? I'm giving him a hard time right now. Making the jab not the best tool for starters. Players can also mash their way out of being thrown to regain control back faster. The only 2 tilts I would change would be the up tilt and the down tilt. For the up tilt, instead of the Klonoa using the wind sword, he'd move his ears left to right above him. A semi-spammable move that can juggle at mid percentages, and set up for more air combos. That's not a terrible idea. I'll write that down as a potential, because we already brought up how the up tilt probably should be changed. So what did he say for the up tilt? Instead of using Klonoa's wind sword, move his ears from left to right above him. Left to right, so back to forward then. Flip his ears overhead from back to front. Okay. Klonoa's Delta, instead of using his ears, he'd nudge his foot out like a Ness, only not as fast. It would have a chance to trip if quick enough to set up for the grab. Why would you want it to be like Ness, though? I don't know about that one. His up and down smashes would also change. Instead of the hammer going up and down, Klonoa would arm his air cannons, where he can shoot a spike ball into the air. And for the down smash, he would use both arm cannons to fire at both sides. These spike balls are capable of hitting the ledge. Okay, so Brian's suggesting now that, because we brought up earlier how the arm cannons probably could be potentially replaced, but Brian's straight up suggesting that the arm cannons be used for his up and down smashes. What do you guys think about that? That's a potential idea. Like, I actually didn't really have any issue with the current smash attacks myself, but let me see. So Brian idea. Aim arm cannon straight up. And then Brian idea for down smash. Shoot 2 arm cannons into both directions. So he's suggesting turning the up and down smashes into smash attacks, or into projectile smash attacks. Okay. The downside is both smash attacks have a lot of end lag, making them easier to whiff punish if Klonoa either misses or if you get the wrong read. As such, if Klonoa misses with the up smash, he's vulnerable from the side. If he misses from the down smash, he's vulnerable from above. So it's a move you don't want to commit unless you know for certain what your opponent's next approach is. I guess that was kind of already how we designed Klonoa. He's kind of an all or nothing character because he has a lot of mobility thanks to his grabs, and like his basic normals are pretty quick, but he does have a lot of stronger moves that can leave him vulnerable, which can be potentially dangerous for him. Okay, I think I see where he's going with this. The idea would be to trick your opponent into thinking you're going to up smash. Wait, but to make this move nastier, if you wait until you're about to release the attack, you can change the direction to either up or down smash. The idea would be to trick your opponent into thinking you're going to an up smash, but if you change it into a down smash just before releasing it to throw them off. How would that work? I get what he's saying here, but how would that work animation-wise? Because he's saying, like, the up smash is just shooting 1 cannon, and the down smash is shooting 2. So how would you do that? Like, would it be like you do like this? Like I don't know about that myself. Neat idea. I don't think it really works in this situation. In this situation, though. Okay. All right. Klonoa's neutral rule air would be the airborne version of his standing jab. No, I already established I don't much care for the idea of his jab being a command grab. The aerial command grab. Nah, I don't think that's needed. Because I get what he's trying to do here. He wants to be able to grab people out of the air. I think if we were to do that, though, we would just simply have to, Well, no, there is an easy way to do that, though. Because there's already characters who can technically use their grabs in the air. It's the tether characters. So we could very easily just turn the wind bullet into a type of, like, not really a tether grab, because it can't actually tether, but like Samus's, like, plasma beam or whatnot, like, it's a grab that can be used in the air, but unlike all those other attacks where when you use it like that, it's just like a long-range attack for spacing, it could actually be a grab. So I don't see any reason why we can't just do that for his grab. So let me add that to his grab then. Yeah, the air grab. You're right. There you go. So fix This can also be used in the air. This can also... The grab can be used in the air. It is raining right now. That's not good. If the stream randomly cuts off, you guys know why. So, yes, using the same method for tether grabs. So I think that's an easy fix right there. That makes sense to me. Yeah, because I really don't agree with the idea of his jab being like the wind bullet command grab. So as I said, because he thought he had to have thought of an idea to replace the grab, then, right? So let me hold on. Let me keep reading. Neutral air would be the airborne version of a standing grab, where it would also be an aerial command grab. This can be used to grab opponents on the side of the stage who try to edge guard Klonoa and reverse edge guard them. It is about as slow as the normal jab and is not capable of grabbing the ledge. So if you miss your shot, you have to rely on whatever jumps you have left. Klonoa's back air could also be changed. We've said that as well. Instead of the sword swinging backward, Klonoa can clap his ears behind himself like Corrin's back air with his wings, so Klonoa wouldn't be pushed forward. Clapping his ears behind himself. That honestly sounds a bit awkward. I don't much care for that myself. Sorry, Brian. I don't much care for that idea myself, because as from a character design standpoint, that sounds a little awkward. Klonoa's normal grab would be different given his neutral jab and neutral air would now be the grab for this original moveset. Instead, he would grab him with one hand and pummel with his headbutt. His grabs, however, would remain the same, only his forward and back throw would have set knockback, unlike what you can do for the command grab, making the forward throw and back throw more keep off me options compared to the grab scaling knockback, which while can start as neutral resets, can become pressure tools as their knockback scales damage. Yeah, I just don't agree with the idea of just moving his command grab to his jab. I think it's fine just keeping it as his grab. Anyway, as for special moves, we're changing all but one. Ooh, okay. Let's see what he has to say here. I'm curious. His neutral special, up special, and down special. His neutral up special would be the Wind Genome. A rod Klonoa pulls out, which can summon a barrier. Klonoa will thrust the shield forward, which can damage enemies it collides with. Wasn't that his... The Beam Genome? Is that not the same thing? Thrust the shield forward, which can damage enemies it collides with. It also gets the bonus of stopping projectiles, giving Klonoa the ability to jump in front of projectile users, beat out the projectiles while hitting the opponent with the shield, especially dangerous to projectiles. Framers who stand on the edge of the stage and throw full screen projectiles. You know who you are. This only projects Klonoa's front, so he's vulnerable from behind. So he's saying to keep the boomerang as the side special, and to effectively move the down special to the neutral special. Interesting. Yeah, like it is the down special. So he wants to move the down special to the neutral special. Interesting choice. Not sure how much I agree with it, but let me keep reading. Some special but change since Klonoa can naturally do the double jump if he grabs an enemy with his jab or neutral air and jumps while holding the foe. So instead, his recovery will be the move where he grabs an enemy called an Urbil. He'll stop in place while charging electricity and launch himself high into the air while covered in electricity. While charging electricity, foes can be hit with small chip damage, making this move more dangerous to edge guard unless you have disjointed hitboxes. I mean, I really didn't see much issue with the original up special. The only other idea for an up special that I think could work for Klonoa wasn't there also an enemy in in the Klonoa games where when you grab it, it like has a propeller on its head, so it actually will lift Klonoa into the air. Because that is another potential up special for Klonoa. The Keaton? Is that what it's called? Because like either one of those could work for an up special. Let me do this then. It's called the Keaton, right? Is that what it's called? Like the one with the propeller on its head? So I'm thinking maybe... So his up special is still technically the double jump. What I'm thinking, though, is like... He'll always grab a Keaton, and then when you first activate up special, he'll grab the Keaton and it'll lift him into the air. But if you use up special again while the Keaton lifts you into the air, then you'll double jump off of it to give yourself potentially more height. Or to use the Keaton as like a downward projectile. That's what I'm thinking. Because I have no clue what this herbal thing is. Again, I'll have to like go back and look into that one. Like I'll have to talk to Brian about a lot of this, because some of these ideas I'm not quite jiving with. This move will not put Klonoa into free fall, essentially making his recovery PK Thunder. If PK Thunder was a recovery move, I know what I said. Why does it sound like Brian's just trying to turn Klonoa into Ness? Man's hated that people compared him to Sonic. Now he's just trying to turn him into Ness. The heck? For Klonoa's down special, since the Wind Genome is already the neutral special, we're swapping that out for Klonoa to drop another familiar enemy. He would place a Boomy on the ground. Boomies are out for Klonoa to drop another familiar enemy. He would place the Boomy on the ground. Boomies are the only enemy in Klonoa who don't burst when thrown. Instead, they explode on their own set timer. Klonoa would place the Boomy on the ground as it gets ready to explode. Similar to the games, the Boomy would be put on a set timer, and after the time is up, it will explode. The Boomy can also be picked up and thrown at enemies after their sets, or if you're in need of recovery, Klonoa can use the Boomy to perform the double jump, which can also count as sending a projectile downward. That's not a terrible idea. This one I actually like. So here's what I'm thinking. Here. I don't agree with the Genome being his neutral special. I think it would work better as a side special, and then to change the neutral special into his Boomerang. So change neutral special, make this the Boomerang. Make the side special the Genome. Change. Make this the Wind Genome. And then down special. So this is Brian's idea. So change. Make this into a Boomy, which acts as a bomb that Klonoa can throw around or jump off of. That's not a terrible idea. I like that one. Also, Klonoa can only spawn one Boomy at a time. Doing the down special again with a Boomy already out will do nothing. He must wait around 15 seconds to create a new one. Okay. For Klonoa's taunt, I am slightly changing one and completely altering another. Klonoa's side taunt would have Hupo come out of the ring and circle around Klonoa while they giggle and play. However, that's only if you're using Klonoa's Door to Phantomile color. If you're using the Lunatic outfit, Lolo will come out of the ring, tripping and falling. Klonoa would look worried for his friend until Lolo picks herself back up. They both have a laugh. Both characters would then retreat into the ring. Yeah, that's okay. That's kind of what I figured would happen here. So, let me bring that one up for that one. So Brian, fix, make sure Lolo comes out for the appropriate costume. She can trip because she's clumsy. Klonoa's down taunt would be completely different, where instead of holding the moon pendant, Klonoa would simply remove his hat in a huzzah pose, a trick he can do well on the win board. Which I believe was actually literally one of his victory poses that he gave. So I guess he missed that part. But that was also one of the ones we figured could change. So, okay, that's fine as a taunt. Okay. So those were all of Brian's ideas. So I'm probably going to definitely have to talk, once I get a chance to once I get a chance to talk with Brian, we'll definitely go over this a little bit more, so we can try to so we can both kind of bounce ideas off each other to try to figure out a more definitive idea of how we want to kind of build Klonoa here. Because there are some ideas here that Brian presented that I do like, but there's others I just don't jive that well with. All right. That's all there is for Klonoa for the time being. Considering how much time I spent on Klonoa. Oh yeah, it has already been an hour, almost an hour. Jeez. I do still want to try to get through all the characters that I have listed here, though there's a good chance I may not be able to, considering that the next two characters are pretty long. So I guess we'll see. All right, next moveset. And actually, there's Brian right there. Messaging you from my sister's place. I imagine the taunt, without being on the board. Yeah. I figured that much. Yeah, Brian. There were some ideas you listed in the thing that I don't jive that well with. So yeah, once we get a chance, you and I can talk it over and kind of figure out a good compromise, the better fit, a moveset that we both like for Klonoa. So we'll see where that goes. Alright, let's go. I'll just go ahead and skip this. Alright, so my first Pokemon Trainer moveset. So, I'm sure a lot of you folks are fully aware, but there are a lot of Pokemon. I mean, a lot of them. Currently, we stand at a grand total of 109 Pokemon. And this was one of my big mistakes from the original. My speech impediment throwing out the wrong word. When I say 100 and whatever, well, I mean, it's over 1,000 now, but point being, whatever. And even that number will be outdated sometime in the later half of 2019. Now, when you have so many Pokemon, that leads to a lot of wanted candidates for Super Smash Bros. Whether they're wanted because they just make the most sense to be a fighter, or just because they're someone's favorite Pokemon. So because of that, I'll be treating Pokemon a little differently when giving them a Smash moveset. With the exception of legendary Pokemon, and maybe one or two others here and there, all Pokemon from now on will be bunched together into teams of 3. Yep, just like our favorite Pokemon trainer that already exists in Smash. Red here isn't the only trainer from the Pokemon world, obviously, so who's to say that other trainers with their own sets of Pokemon can't get some love? So from now on, I'll be dedicating every 4th video of this series to a Pokemon trainer. That did not age well. From those that you all request. Anyway, sorry for that meaty explanation, but with all that out of the way, let's jump right into the first trainer that I'm going to be covering. The Pokemon trainer from the Johto region, an accompanying them will be the 3 starter Pokemon from the Johto region, just like how Red got the Kanto starters in Smash. More specifically, the Pokemon the Johto trainer will have will be the Big Jaw Pokemon Totodile, the first stage Water-type starter, the Leaf Pokemon Bayleaf, the second stage Grass-type starter, and the Volcano Pokemon Typhlosion, the third stage Fire-type starter. Now, I guess it should be noted regarding these Pokemon trainer movesets. So, like, obviously when going back to old movesets like this, there's always the possibility that I could think of, like, a potentially different setup in terms of the Pokemon trainers, like, lineup for Pokemon. This one I think is fine. Totodile, Bayleaf, and Typhlosion I think is still a solid pick. I don't think those need to be changed. I chose these 3 based on who would be better suited for the style of Smash, as well as based off of a poll that I did some time ago to determine who's the most popular Pokemon of each stage and type among the Johto starters. And now that I just outed the poll's real purpose, everyone's gonna go back and look to see the other polls that I did to see who will be coming in the future. Ah well, consider it a sneak peek. With all that said and out of the way... That sneak peek doesn't actually mean much anymore, but whatever. Also just noticed, somehow I mistyped Typhlosion throughout the entire notes here. Whatever. I won't waste any more time. Let's get right into these mons. Just like the Kanto trainers Pokemon in Smash, the Johto trainers Pokemon would also be balanced in such a way to make them all properly differentiate from one another. But they wouldn't be identical to the Kanto Pokemon, they'd be balanced in their own ways. To properly compare the 3 Pokemon, Typhlosion would have the fastest running speed, Totodile would be the slowest, and Bayleaf would be in the middle, faster than Totodile but slower than Typhlosion. I know, it might be odd for the small Pokemon to be the slow one and the big one to be the faster one, but that is what makes the most sense when you look at these 3 Pokemon together. If it was Cyndaquil and Feraligatr instead, then yeah, it would be small one fast, big one slow. But the polls have spoken, so we're moving on. Despite Totodile having the slowest running speed, its attacks would be the quickest. I mean, have you seen how quick a Croc is able to bite down? They're scarily fast. Its attacks would have the least amount of start and end lag, and on top of that, its attacks would be fairly strong. Okay, something I probably should note for this, I guess to help it make a little more sense, is that I guess I could say, because I know this was actually something that a lot of people kind of had issues with beforehand, like why is Totodile slow? I probably should clarify, I guess to help the balancing idea that he's the slowest of the 3, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's slow overall. Leaf would actually deal the least amount of damage of the 3 Pokemon, but its attacks would have the most average startup and end lag, and would have the longest reach of the 3. And Typhlosion's damage would be about on par with Totodile's, but its attacks would end up having a lot more ending lag. At least more than Totodile's and Bayleaf's anyway. All 3 Pokemon would have 2 jumps, Bayleaf would be able to crawl, and Typhlosion would be able to both crawl and wall jump. Sorry Totodile, I don't see you being able to do too much with those stubby arms and legs of yours. No, Totodile can crawl, he's a croc! He's a crocodile. Yeah, Totodile should be able to crawl. Let me fix that. Crocs crawl. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Totodile should be able to crawl. I think, his body type looks like he should be able to crawl. But alrighty, let's move right on to their attacks. Can Squirtle crawl? Yeah, Squirtle can crawl. So since there are technically 3 separate movesets that I'm covering here, I'm going to be going over each attack from each Pokemon consecutively. So let's start off with each of their jabs, starting with everybody's favorite small bitey boy, Totodile. Actually, speaking of it being a bitey boy, Totodile's jab would be a single-hit spammable attack in the form of a quick bite from its jaw. Bayleaf would have a 2-hit jab that utilizes its head. It would swing its head diagonally up for the first hit, and then diagonally down the opposite way for the second hit. The sweet spot of this jab would be on Bayleaf's, well, leaf. And for Typhlosion's jab, it would have a 3-hit jab, with the first jab having it thrust its head forward, then upwards vertically, then swing its head from up to down vertically, and then for the final hit, it ignites the flames in its neck forward while its head is pointed downwards. Yeah, so this is definitely where I'm gonna like. A lot of these moves definitely are a lot more are a lot more innovated compared to some of the other movesets we've already gone through. So this is gonna be me mostly thinking back to Like, do I still think these innovative moves are fine? I would change Totodiles. Like, instead of it just being a spammable... I don't mind it being a bite, but it probably needs to be some kind of different bite. So change, make it a differing kind of bite. Bayleafs, I think, is fine as is. Typhlosions, though... It thrusts its head forward, then upwards vertically, then swing its head from up to down vertically, and then from the final hit, it ignites the flames in its neck forward while its head is pointed downwards. So, like... It is a smooth transition, because it's like... Flop, flop, and then pop. Yeah, I think I'm still fine with the jab idea for Typhlosion. I think that's fine. It's a smooth transition. Totodile's dash attack would be a quick low-to-the-ground tackle that would have it slide on its belly with its snout forwards. That's a little odd. Like, this makes sense for, like, a penguin, but not really a croc. So this one I would change, probably. Change Totodile's dash attack. Bayleaf's dash attack would also be a tackle, but it would utilize its neck. It would lunge forward with its neck and head curled backwards. Typhlosion's dash attack would have it do a big curled up somersault while engulfed in fire, as if it were using the attack Flame Wheel. I think I would change Typhlosion's dash attack as well. I know it's supposed to be Flame Wheel, but like, as a dash attack, it just seems a little odd. Totodile's side tilt would be a quick forward scratch from one of its claws, as if it were using the attack Scratch. That is thunder outside. Once again, just as a reminder, if the stream randomly dies, you guys know why. That would be Zeus. I would change Totodile's side tilt. That just seems a little janky. Swap Totodile's jab and side tilt. That's kind of what I'm thinking, honestly. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea, actually. Make this the reaching bite. The reaching spammable bite. And then for, yeah, include scratches that can end with a bite. Bayleaf would do a quick long-range horizontal swing from one of its vines, and Typhlosion... That one's fine for Bayleaf. Would do a quick diagonal angled swing from its head and neck. That's a little basic. I would change that. I would change that side tilt. Totodile's up tilt would have it do a small jump and snap its jaw directly upwards. That's fine. Bayleaf would swing its neck upwards from forward to backwards, with the leaf on its head being the sweet spot. That's fine. And Typhlosion would do a quick eruption from its neck flames. That's fine. Totodile's down tilt would be a quick low-to-the-ground kick, where it would just thrust its foot forward. That's awkward. That one probably needs to be changed. That's... Like I have listed here that it's using low kick, but that animation specifically is kind of odd. As if it were using the attack low kick. Bayleaf would do a quick low-to-the-ground swipe with its neck, with its head leaf once again being the sweet spot. Fine. This attack would be capable of popping foes into the air. And Typhlosion would do a quick lunging headbutt. This attack would actually move Typhlosion forwards. I think this is fine. Totodile's side smash would have it spray a huge blast of water outwards forwards. The water's range would cover a wide space in front of Totodile, but it wouldn't go very far. This attack would be more powerful when the foe is closer to Totodile upon its use. It can deal damage if the dispersing water blast hits the opponent, but it would only do a small flinching damage at most. I like the idea. I think there needs more to it. So here's an addition that I'm going to do for this. So add Side Smash starts with a strong with a strong gripping bite, then is immediately followed up with the water spray. Opponents hit by that bite will be trapped until launched by the water. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, instead of just a it's a kind of like that. Yeah, I know. The water. So, like, corners, neutral, special, but backward? Kinda-ish? It's still, like, this spray kind of deal. Like what I show here, but, like, But yeah, alright.
Bayleaf would do a quick horizontal neck swipe, with, once again, its leaf being the sweet spot.
And the fact that I have to say once again means it's probably... Okay, this one I don't like. This one I want to change. I don't know what to change it to just yet, but, I will think about that at a later point. So I would change Bayleaf Side Smash.
That leaf is a fairly well-utilized tool for Bayleaf, so why wouldn't it depend on it so much?
Yeah, it can depend on it a lot, but it doesn't need to use it all the time.
Anyways, for Typhlosion's Side Smash, it would spit a combustion of flames directly in front of itself. Similar to Ridley's Side Smash, the hitbox would only be on the explosion.
I would change this. This one I think can be changed.
Totodile's Up Smash would have it spray an arc of water upwards from front to back, with the water itself being what deals the launching hit, of course.
I think the idea is fine. I just didn't draw it that well. So I'm gonna just say fix animation.
Bayleaf's Up Smash would have it do an attack akin to the move Leaf Storm. It would raise its neck upright and shake the buds circling its neck, causing a small twister of leaves to rise from its neck and circle Bayleaf as it traveled upwards. The leaves of the twister would only do small flinching damage, and the end of the attack would have the leaves quickly speed up, which is what would deal the launching blow. Mechanically, this attack would work similar to Samus's Up Smash.
Where it traps somebody and then launches them, assuming all the hits connect correctly and they don't just fall out of it. Yeah, this move's fine. One thing I would change about it though. Let me see here. Fix animation. Show it also. So kind of like just doing this kind of deal with its neck. So it's like, it gets groovy. Spin its neck.
And Typhlosion's Up Smash would have it swing its upper body from forwards to backwards while its neck flames erupt. The sweet spot of this attack would be where the flames are erupting.
That's kind of basic. This one I would change as well.
Totodile's Down Smash would have it shoot a blast of water at the ground that sprays outwards to both sides diagonally. Similar to Squirtle's Up Smash, but it only covers Totodile's immediate sides. It doesn't go very high.
This is fine.
Like its Side Smash, this attack performs better when the foe is closer to Totodile when it uses it. Bayleaf would do a quick 360 spin while it holds out both its vines in opposite directions.
That's fine.
Typhlosion would also do a 360 spin, but it'll stay on the ground and it would have its neck flames erupting.
This I would change.
And of course, the biggest damage dealing point of the attack would be coming from its neck. The rest of its body can cause damage, but it's treated as a sour spot. Totodile's neutral air would have it curl up and spin in multiple circles with its tail out. The hardest hitting point of this attack would be from the spike on Totodile's tail.
It should be the tail and the back spikes. So this I think is fine. Add damage also comes from back spine.
Bayleaf would spin its whole body about 90 degrees while both of its vines are out in opposite directions. The left vine would swing from low to high, and the right vine would swing from high to low. And Typhlosion's neutral air would be similar to Charizard's, having it do 1 degrees while both...
I would change this one for Bayleaf.
Its vines are out in opposite directions. The left vine would swing from low to high, and the right vine would swing from high to low. And Typhlosion's neutral air would be similar to Charizard's, having it do 1 spin with its body curled up. Its neck flames would also be erupting as it spins, and...
The only issue with this one is that it's kind of similar to Totodile's, too. I think the idea is fine. Kind of goes back to, like, it's... Because technically Typhlosion's supposed to be some kind of badger, whereas Cyndaquil was the echidna. Fix animation for this one.
Encompassing Typhlosion in flames, turning its whole body into a hitbox. Totodile's forward air would be a quick forwards multi-bite, where it quickly snaps its jaw 4 times.
Speech impediment.
With the 4th hit being the launching hit.
That one's fine.
Bayleaf would do a quick vertical neck swing from high to low, with the sweet spot being on its head leaf yet again.
That's fine.
And Typhlosion would do a quick horizontal swipe with one of its arms.
I would change that. Yeah, Typhlosion's kind of taking... Yeah, like, I'm not liking my original Typhlosion moveset. Like, it's... I'm taking some... Like, yeah, past BJ's taking some L's on this one.
Totodile's back air would be a quick double vertical tail swipe, with the first swing being from high to low, and then low to high for the second hit.
That's fine.
Kind of like Yoshi's back air, but with not as many hits. Bayleaf would do a quick horizontal turnaround, swinging both of its vines.
Oh, gross. No, I don't like that one. Yeah, this one I would change.
And Typhlosion would stretch out its body and do a quick double kick horizontally backward.
Oh, I don't like that one either. Cheer. Something I'm noticing actually with Bayleaf, I relied way too much on that head leaf and the vines. I should have put more emphasis on Bayleaf's legs. Because considering the kind of animal Bayleaf's supposed to be, Bayleaf's supposed to have some strong legs. So I definitely should... Yeah, so for a lot of the attacks that I want to change for Bayleaf, I should definitely give it, like, more, like, leg-related moves. Actually, already, here's an idea that I have for a potential Bayleaf side smash. Like, so imagine, like, for the side smash, it lifts up and then smashes its legs down. That can be its side smash. I kind of like that idea. Its front legs, I should specifically. That I like. Yeah, Bayleaf has 4 legs. We gotta use more leg.
Totodile's up air would have it do a quick backflip to strike with its tail from forwards to back.
That I'd probably change. That's a little basic.
Bayleaf would swing its vines upwards from backwards to forwards.
Change that one as well. Also kind of basic.
And Typhlosion would erupt its neck flames straight upwards as it huddles its body.
It's kind of similar to what I did with the up tilt, though. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna go back and change the up tilt for Typhlosion. I want to keep this, but
And to end the attacks off with.
okay, I am adding something to this attack. When used, it propels Typhlosion down. I like that. Okay, so we'll keep that up tilt, but oops. I'll keep that up air, but I'm adding that little detail to it.
The down airs, Totodile would have a quick downwards kick with both legs.
Nah, I'm changing that one. Here we go. Yeah, this one I'd change.
Similar to Dr. Mario's down air, this of course would be capable of spiking, Bayleaf would effectively use the attack Body Slam, and would fly straight down with its whole body, slamming into the ground or any unfortunate opponents that are under...
Okay, I think it's fine for Bayleaf to have a falling move, just based on the fact that a lot of its attacks are kind of ground reliant. I would fix the animation though. Instead of just having do like this, oh, like I should do more closely than what I showed in this GIF, where like it falls with its legs down. Like it got strong legs, it should be using its strong legs.
And Typhlosion would spit an explosion of fire straight downwards. This attack can halt momentum if Typhlosion is falling when it uses it. Think of this attack similar to Zelda's up air, but obviously fire downwards instead of upwards.
Oh, I don't like that I kept that in for that little animation joke. That said, I would change this too. Yeah, Typhlosion's taking a lot of L's. Looking back, I did not do Typhlosion justice. I did not do Typhlosion justice.
When it comes to grab range, Totodile would grab its opponents with its jaw, but it would have the shortest grab range of the three. Bayleaf would grab with its vines, but would have the longest grab range, and Typhlosion would grab with both of its arms and would have the average grab range compared to Totodile and Bayleaf.
These two are fine. I'd change Typhlosion so that it only grabs with one arm. Only grab with one arm.
Totodile's pummel would have it just bite down on the poor sucker in its mouth. Its forward throw would have it do a quick spin to gain momentum and then release the foe from its jaw to send them flying once it fully spins around. Its back throw would have Totodile violently shake the foe in its mouth like a real crocodile would when it tries to wear down prey, then throws them backwards. Its up throw would have it toss the foe overhead, then spray water at the foe straight up to send them upwards. And Totodile's down throw would have it jump on the foe and begin violently biting them before they get knocked away.
Okay, the down throw I'm going to change, not necessarily because I don't like this idea, but I just have a better one. The death roll. Have it roll around in the spot with the opponent in its mouth, like doing the death roll.
Rocks sure are scary when they get a hold of you, huh? For Bayleaf, its pummel would have it just squeeze the foe with its vines, just like what Ivysaur does. Its forward throw would have it headbutt the foe forward. Its back throw would have it swing the foe backward normally. The up throw can have it scoop the foe under its head, then toss them upwards. And its down throw can have him just throw the foe into the ground, popping them into the air.
This down throw I changed as well for Bayleaf. Thinking about a body slam, it might be a little bit redundant from earlier, but I think this should be changed.
And to end off the throws with Typhlosion, its pummel would have it breathe quick spurts of flame into the foe's face. Its forward throw would have it breathe fire into the opponent, sending them forwards. Its back throw would have it put the foe above its head, then erupt its neck fire while also catapulting them, causing the foe to fly backwards. Its up throw would have Typhlosion throw the foe overhead, then erupt its neck flame, sending them upward.
This I'd change.
And its down throw would be similar to Bowser's down throw, having Typhlosion do a quick body slam.
Okay, so I actually remember for this one, in my original Mistakes and Issues video, somebody suggested an add-on to this, where when it does this body slam, it erupts its flames to propel itself forward faster, so it slams down. I like that idea. I'm just wondering if I should just keep the down throw overall for it. Nah, I think I'm just going to change the down throw overall. Bayleaf has a really boring moveset. Well, to be fair, Chikorita's line is one of the most boring of the starters. I'm kidding. No, I think the moveset's fine. It's like, that's just how it be.
Moving right along to the special attacks, I'll quickly go over the down special, which obviously would work exactly like Pokemon Trainer's down special in Smash, the Pokemon change. Using Down B switches the current Pokemon out and replaces it with the next Pokemon in the line. Every single Pokemon trainer I make a moveset and team
Oh,
for
Jesus.
will have this as their down.
This is so
just
bad.
To get it out of the way now. In the case of
This what I use to record this with the greening and then like how it keeps jumping because of the specific camera I'm using, this is bad.
Johto trainer, the team order will be Totodile to Bayleaf to Typhlosion, then back to Totodile. With that out of the way, let's move on to the special attacks from each of the 3 Pokemon. And of course, they will be the in-game attacks that the Pokemon can actually learn. Starting with the neutral specials, Totodile would use the attack Ice Fang. Ice Fang in the game is a basic Ice-type attack that has a chance to either make the foe flinch or freeze. For Smash, 2 large blue teeth shapes would appear while using this move, just like how we see the elemental bite moves look in the anime. This would allow the move a decent amount of range. It would be a quick attack that could do a good amount of damage, but it wouldn't have any launch power, being only capable of doing a small flinch, just like in the games. This could allow the move to have some pretty good combo setups. However, this move does also have a chance to freeze opponents, and if they do get frozen, that's what will launch them for a pretty good distance. Bayleaf's neutral.
Okay, I think that's fine. That can stay the same.
Special would be Light Screen. Light Screen is a non-damaging move that reduces damage from all special attacks used by opponents for a few turns for the entire party. In Smash, Bayleaf would create a wall of energy that covers its direct front. This wall would be able to reflect any projectile. You could hold the button down to hold the light screen out, but it will only last for up to 5 seconds before Bayleaf will automatically put the screen down, just like how it lasts for only a few turns in the Pokemon games.
I'm wondering if I should move light screen to the side special, or if I should just change this one entirely. I'm thinking to just go ahead and change light screen. Yeah, this one can just be changed.
Typhlosion's neutral special would be the fire-type attack, Eruption. This attack is a very powerful attack that deals more damage to the opponents when the user has more HP. So the lower the HP, the weaker the attack. This attack would have Typhlosion shoot a geyser of flames from its neck high into the air vertically. It would go about as high as Palutena's up smash attack. This attack, however, does get weaker the more damage Typhlosion sustains. The more damage it has, the less damage it will deal, and it will lose vertical height. The attack would be at its weakest once Typhlosion reaches 78% of damage.
That's way too low. Oh, what was I thinking there? I like the idea of the attack. I don't mind keeping that attack. That drawback is a little too soon.
Specifically because this is actually Typhlosion's HP stat total.
That's... yeah, cool. Neat reference there, BJ. Made for a pretty pitiful special attack, then.
For Totodile's side special, it would be the water-type attack Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is a strong physical water-type attack that, as the name suggests, has the user attack with the tail while covered in compressed water. To give an example of how it works, think of how Greninja is able to create swords and shurikens made of compressed water. It's the same thing that happens with Aqua Tail. Totodile would do a front flip, with its tail beginning to surround itself in water during the actual flip. Then it would slam the Aqua Tail onto the ground in front of itself. Totodile's tail would have a hitbox for the whole duration of its attack, but would deal the most damage and will actually be able to launch foes once the Aqua Tail is fully formed as it strikes forwards and hits the ground.
This, I think, should be changed. Whether it changes to a different move aside from Aqua Tail, or if I just do something different with Aqua Tail, I don't know. But that actual attack just seems a little weak.
Bayleaf's side special would be the grass-type attack Magical Leaf. This is a basic attack that never misses its target. For Smash, Bayleaf could shoot a couple of small leaves that can individually home in on opponents. Since the idea of an attack that never misses would be completely broken in Smash, the leaves would only be able to home in for a short period of time before they automatically just go straight. The leaves do travel as a bunch, but they are all treated as individual attacks that deal small damage and cause small flinching apiece.
Okay, I'm gonna move this move to change move to neutral special. So this should be its neutral special. And then fix functionality. So like I think Magical Leaf is a good move to give to Bayleaf as an attack. It does make sense for it. I'd probably just fix how it works though. So I'll think more about that later.
Period of time before they automatically just go straight. The leaves do travel as a bunch, but they are all treated as individual attacks that deal small damage and cause small flinching apiece. Typhlosion's side special would have it use the fire type attack, Overheat. Overheat is a very strong fire type attack that lowers the user's special attack after each use. Typhlosion would release a wave that covers its whole front as well as a little bit above it. It's a quick launching attack that can deal a good amount of...
Huh? Okay. This must have been a change that I did within editing and then never went back to my notes for it. I show Overheat here. My notes has it listed as Heat Wave. Pass BJ, what you doing?
damage and has pretty good launch power. On top of that, this attack can be used continuously if the button is held down. However, this attack specifically will actually weaken over a duration of time as it's used. I repeat, only the side special will weaken, not all of Typhlosion's attacks. That would actually just make Typhlosion bad, and Ralmors would actually gut me if I made one of his favorite Pokemon bad.
Well, he hasn't got me yet, because very clearly I made Typhlosion pretty bad. Oh dear. We haven't done Klonoa yet? Nope, we started with Klonoa. We've already finished Klonoa, so that'll be something you can watch that in the VOD later. So this move I would change entirely. One immediate thing I'm noticing with this entire moveset, there's no good horizontal movement for these characters. All three of them had moves that are super short, these short range kind of attacks with their side specials, and even their neutral specials. Yeah, I need to add more actual horizontal functionality with these characters. So that's something I'm gonna have to keep in mind.
The attack will not regain its power for as long as Typhlosion remains out. The attack's power will reset to full power once Typhlosion is either switched out or KO'd. And as for the up specials, Totodile would use the attack Hydro Pump, which would work pretty much like how Greninja's Hydro Pump works.
Changing that. I'm gonna just change that entirely. That was just laziness on my part, clearly.
The only difference is that it would only be able to go in one direction, unlike Greninja's who can go in two directions, but to make up for that, it would be able to go much farther in that one direction. Bayleaf's up special would be Vine Whip, and it would pretty much work identically to Ivysaur's Vine Whip.
Changing that. I'm gonna just go ahead and change that as well. Once again, more laziness in my part, clearly.
Whip attack and Smash. Ivysaur and Bayleaf are both quadrupeds, and they use two vines as makeshift arms, so they're bound to have some similarities. And finally, Typhlosion's up special would have it use Flame Charge. Flame Charge is a fire type attack that has the user engulf itself in fire, and then charges the foe with a fiery tackle. After its use, it raises the user's speed stat. For Smash, let's avoid the speed stat raise and be a little busted, but this attack would pretty much work similarly to Fox and Falco's up special, where Typhlosion just engulfs itself in flames and...
See, you guys are noticing that whenever, in the past, if I mentioned that a move that I came up with for a new moveset was similar to one that already existed in Smash, that's compelling me more to want to change it. I realize, obviously, some attacks are going to be similar. That's inevitable when it comes to Smash characters. But when I make such a direct comparison like that, it makes me inclined to want to think of something a little bit different. I don't mind, doing things the same way if it just makes sense for the character. But, having a little more originality doesn't hurt either. So, you gotta find a compromise, is what I'm saying here. Using Flame Charge as the up special for Typhlosion, I think, is okay. If I can find a different move, I'll use it. But I'm gonna say for this one, possible change. Or at the very least, change animation. Okay.
Flies into any chosen direction. Unlike Fox and Falcos, though, it wouldn't have as much startup.
I think this is just me showing all of the super moves. I even remember actually, like, I've made this known, like, very early on, like, even, like, back in, like, in that old Mistakes and Issues video, and even, like, I mentioned this in, like, my original Hoenn moveset video, I didn't like this Final Smash.
It would be their own variation of the triple finish, but instead of the attack being fired horizontally straight forwards, it would expand from an outward circumference.
Yeah, this side would just change entirely. I think the original idea was just, again, because I really, really liked the idea of Pokemon trainers, assuming, like, it makes sense for them, to use a much stronger Pokemon for their Final Smash, like a 4th Pokemon, because, yeah, they're only using 3 for the actual fight, but, you know, remember, trainers can hold up to 6, so yeah, change this entirely. I think, what did we bring up? Like, we brought up, like, how they can use Suicune, or, you know, Lugia, or her Ho-Oh, or just whatever. Like, something else that isn't this. So let me just go ahead and just skip past this.
Better known canonical colors would be the male trainer design from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, canonically known as Ethan. The second color would replace Ethan with the female trainer from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, better known canonically as Lyra. Her Pokemon would all have green hues for their color scheme. Why green? Because it stands out compared to the remaining colors that I have for the most part.
Oh, okay. Let me look at the other colors first before I make a comment on that.
Third would have the trainer become the female trainer design introduced in Pokemon Crystal, better known as Chris. Her Pokemon would all have blue hues. The fourth color would be Ethan with the colors of the Generation 2 rival, better known as Silver, the son of Giovanni. The Pokemon would all have red hues for this color scheme. This alt with Lyra with the color scheme based on the normal type gym leader Whitney, with Pokemon that have pink hues.
Why Whitney?
Here we have Chris with the colors of Jasmine, the steel type gym leader.
Why Jasmine?
Her Pokemon would have brown hues. Next is Ethan with a gold color scheme, and his Pokemon with gold hues, in reference to the gold version of the Gen 2 games. And finally, we have Lyra and her Pokemon with a silver color scheme, in reference to the silver version of the Gen 2 games.
The color spectrum is fine. I do just question some of the references that I used. So for some of these, let me just make possible changes. So, possible change for the Whitney colors. That one's a little odd. Same for the Jasmine colors. And then probably a possible change for the Lyra colors. Like, using Lyra is fine. It's just like using Lyra is fine. It's just the color choice that I made for her is, yeah, like, literally I just said, like, I only chose green so it'd stand out from the rest of the color spectrum, but that's still kind of a weak excuse for that.
For the stage entrance, it would be the same as the Kanto Pokemon trainer, with the trainer already being present on the stage, and they summon whichever Pokemon they choose from the Pokeball. For taunts, starting with Totodile, its first taunt would have it jump up and down happily, like it does a lot of the time in the anime.
That's fine.
Pokemon Refresh.
That is fine.
Its next taunt would have it pull down one of its eyelids and stick out its tongue like a little troublemaker it is. And it's...
Where did I get the idea for that? Especially since I used Pancham for that, like... I don't know, would you guys consider Totodile a troublemaker? I don't know where I got that idea from. That's probably a change. I'll just change that one.
Last taunt would have it pull out a random berry and eat it, in reference to how in the Pokemon games, Pokemon can hold items and use them in battle. This is especially appropriate to have for a Gen 2 Pokemon, since held items were first introduced in Generation 2.
That one's fine. That's actually a neat idea. I still like that.
Bayleaf's first taunt would have it perk up its head and then have the petals on its neck vibrate a little bit. Its second taunt would have it hop with 2 Pokemon, since held items were first introduced in Generation 2. Bayleaf's first taunt would have it perk up its head and then have the petals on its neck vibrate a little bit.
Let me change that one.
Its second taunt would have it hop back and forth on its legs and wag its tail, a reference to the animation that it gets in Pokemon Crystal for its sprites.
That's fine.
Its last taunt would have it spin its head leafing around in a few circles. We usually see his pre-evolution Chikorita be the one who does this, but there's no reason to assume Bayleaf wouldn't do it either. And for
That was fine.
Typhlosion's first taunt, it would roar to the sky while its neck flames erupt, in reference to the animation we see it do in the 3D Pokemon games.
Kinda basic. I'd say it doesn't necessarily need to be changed, but it probably can be, yeah, fix it. Make more interesting.
Its second would have it growl a little bit while some smoke emits from its neck, and for its last taunt,
That's fine.
do a backflip, then do a roar forwards.
See, that one's actually more interesting. So then I would actually say, no, yeah, that one's fine. But yeah, let's just change the first taunt entirely then.
And finally, to end things off, the victory animations. The trainer will have 3 separate animations, with each Pokemon having an animation to go along with.
Again, no consistently burning fire. Because of how I have a lot of the attacks kind of set up, I don't think it's needed.
With each of the trainer's animations. The first would have the trainer do a pose like this. Totodile would jump up and down excitedly, dancing in circles around the trainer. Bayleaf would do a backflip, and rock back and forth excitedly. And Typhlosion would do a roar to the sky with its flames erupting. Then do a pose akin to its old Gen 2 sprites.
That's fine.
The second victory animation for the trainer would have them looking at their Pokegear, then pose with it. Totodile would spray water into the air, then pose. Bayleaf would do a pose with its neck vitals bobbing up and down around its neck in a sequence.
So literally a repeat of... Alright, change Bayleafs there.
And Typhlosion would breathe fire across the ground in front of the trainer, then pose on all fours. And the final victory animations would have the trainer interact with their Pokemon.
I think we should also make the second pose a little more interesting as well. Like to match the energy that I gave to the Pokemon, specifically in this one.
Totodile would jump onto the trainer's shoulders and begin playfully nibbling on the trainer's head. Bayleaf would lean on its trainer until the trainer falls over. Then Bayleaf would begin rubbing its face against the trainers. And Typhlosion would nuzzle up against the trainer, and the trainer would scratch its shin in air. And that does it for the Pokemon.
Alright, those interactions are fine. Alright. Yeah, so... yeah, my first trainer moveset, this one needs a lot of work. This one, yeah, there's a lot of L's in this one, unfortunately. It'd be like that, I suppose. Alright. Yeah, so we're already, we're already close to 2 hours. Let's just blow through them. I want to get all 4 of these done. Let's just blow through these. Like, it's gonna be longer than 2 hours, but at this point, I don't care. Though, before we continue on, let me go use the restroom real quick, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Alright, let's go and move on to the next episode. Oh, Frisk, my first Undertale moveset. Go ahead and skip all the intro. I still know there's a lot of people that try to get on my case about like how I use this intro to introduce Frisk when that's Kara in the intro. Who cares? Like no one's gonna actually know that the first time you open the game.
Spoilers inbound. Turn back now if you don't want to be spoiled on anything.
I feel like this should be pretty
Undertale
obvious, but
or
whatever.
Deltarune. You have been warned. So I do just want to get one thing out of the way real quick. I know that when everyone talks about an Undertale rep, their mind immediately goes to everybody's favorite pun-happy skeleton, Sans. And while I probably will do a video on him in the future if enough people request him, I just personally don't think that he's all that well suited to be a Smash fighter. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Sans. He's my favorite character in the game, and everyone wants him in for a reason. And I'm certain that he is very capable of being a fighter, but people seem to forget about one glaring flaw with the character. He's lazy. His favorite thing to do is literally nothing. He won't even fight you in the game unless you literally kill everybody.
Aged like... No, this did not age like milk at all. Because remember, even in the moveset I made for Sans, like, I gave reason for him to fight. It's technically a Papyrus moveset, and the Mii costume does not count. That is not Sans. That is a Mii wearing a Sans costume. So no, my statement did not age like milk.
In the underground, and he has absolutely no choice.
And I still stand by what I'm saying here,
Otherwise, he won't even lift the distal phalanx. Maybe some other
Cringe.
time. But for now, I'd rather do a character that I think makes much more sense to be a fighter for Smash, and that is the Fallen Human, better known as Frisk. At first glance, Frisk is just a normal child, but upon falling into the underground at the beginning of the game, they gain the power of determination, which allows them to continue on their journey and make the choices they choose no matter.
That said, I don't remember a lot of like the Undertale stuff that I said in this video, so I'm curious to see if any of it holds up, like if I still agree with it, or if it's stuff that like you guys think is incorrect or whatever, but whatever.
No matter what. Just so long as the player themselves continues to play the game. Meta, right? So, with that said, Frisk would be a rather complicated character. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to explain that right now by going over Frisk's gimmick before anything else, as their gimmick is literally what would determine how players choose how to have Frisk function.
Alright, let's see how well this holds up.
Frisk's gimmick would be the very moral compass that encompasses the entirety of Undertale's gameplay as a whole, and that would be the ability to either be neutral, pacifist, or genocidal. Just like in the game, literally every action the player has Frisk...
Didn't we find out recently that the terms neutral, pacifist, and genocide are also technically fan terms? Like, there isn't actually, like, a true term for those roots?
Do would affect how Frisk can play, effectively turning them into a type of multi-tier character. There would be what can be called a morality bar above Frisk's character icon that starts out empty at the beginning of the match. This bar shows what affiliation Frisk is during the fight, being able to be neutral, pacifist, or genocidal. Frisk will always start a match as neutral, and doing various moves and actions will have the bar filled to either the left or to the right, with the left representing pacifism and the right representing genocide. The types of actions and attack that the player has Frisk do will either fill the bar to the left or right. To fill the bar towards pacifism, the player simply needs to be a pacifist. The bar will naturally and slowly fill towards the pacifist side by itself so long as the player doesn't attack. Landed special moves will also fill the bar towards pacifism, as the special moves are all different types of acts. I'll talk about more of those later. The basic attacks, on the other hand, are all just that, attacks, and landing those attacks will fill the bar closer to genocide. So in short, doing nothing and special moves for pacifist, basic attacks and pummeling after grabbing for foe for genocide. Throwing doesn't actually do anything, but it can be helpful for pacifism if you want to keep your foes away from you.
Okay, so at first listen here, based on how I'm describing this, I still like this. I still think this idea is fine. Let me see the actual execution, though.
This bar will really only matter once it's filled up completely to one side. Otherwise, Frisk will always remain in their default neutral moveset. However, once the bar is completely filled to a side, this will change Frisk into a completely new character. And this is a permanent change as well. Once Frisk changes to full pacifist or full genocide, they'll remain like that for the remainder of the fight, even if they're KO'd. And they cannot revert back to neutral or attempt to change to the other affinity. Actions have consequences after all. Whew, that was a meaty explanation.
No, it wasn't.
Necessary to avoid confusion.
That was not a meaty explanation past me.
I'll go ahead and begin going over Frisk's moves, but since they have 3 different modes, they technically have 3 different movesets as well. So I'll go over each of them one at a time, starting with their neutral moveset. Frisk's primary weapon while in neutral will be their stick, the beginning weapon they start out with in Undertale. they'll have a very basic moveset with rather slow movement, 2 jumps, and no movement options. Oh, and just for funsies, whenever Frisk shields or uses any of the various dodges, their soul appears during the animations.
Slow movement. Why would I say slow movement? I don't think Frisk does not need to be slow.
Frisk's jab will be a single vertical swing with their stick, swung in a way that matches how it looks when attacking with the stick under them.
I missed a spot!
Their dash attack will have them run forward while frantically swinging their stick forwards. The best thing to compare this to is the attack that the character Adeline from the Kirby series does with her paintbrush. Their side tilt would be a quick horizontal stick swing with some decent range. The up tilt would be an overhead stick swing from front to back, similar to Isabelle's up tilt.
Okay.
Does with her paintbrush.
Jab I think is fine.
Side
Neutral
tilt would be a
dash
quick
attack is fine.
horizontal stick swing with some decent range.
That one I would change. Change this. So change the neutral side special or side tilt.
The up tilt would be an overhead stick swing from front to back, similar to Isabelle's up tilt.
I'd change that. Actually, immediate idea that I have for this is change it from a stick swing to like a stick, like to a kid reaching up with a stick trying to poke, like a stick poke. Make it a stick poke into the air.
Their down tilt would be a quick low to the ground stick poke, similar to Marth's down tilt.
I'd change that one. It's a little basic.
Frisk's side smash would be a quick lunging punch while wearing the Tough Glove, an equipable item that can be found in Undertale for Frisk. Their up smash could have them swing the burnt pan overhead multiple times from side to side in a panic.
It's a little odd, BJ. It's funny, but like the up smash should probably change for the usual special.
And for their down smash, it can be an attack where magical spears emerge from the ground and stab upwards all around Frisk. Frisk would be panicking while trying to dodge these spears, just like how Duck Hunt will freak out whenever there's zap.
I like the idea of the move. I think I'm going to go ahead and change it, though. Because, like, I guess in context, why would an attack from Undyne lead to Frisk becoming more genocidal?
Shoots around them for any of their smash attacks. This attack is in reference to when the real knight Undyne attacked Frisk in the game with their magical spears. Ugh, that whole section kills my anxiety. For aerials, Frisk's neutral air can have them spin horizontally at a slight angle with their stick out.
I would change this. Do I have any? No, I don't. I'm changing this to ballet shoes. Use the ballet shoes. Because I think the ballet shoes are one of the weapons that I never used for the moveset for some reason. So yeah, I would change it to the ballet shoes.
Their forward air can be kind of like Villager and Isabelle's forward airs with their slingshot. But instead of a slingshot, they could throw the empty gun straight forwards.
So, do we ever get like a proper explanation on how the empty gun worked? Like, is it just that Frisk throws the gun? Or do they like fire determination bullets or whatever? I don't know. Like, do we know for sure how the... Because I still like the idea of them just throwing an empty gun. like Miles Edgeworth. It's like, picks up gun, throws gun. Like... That to me is still just kind of funny to think about. I think they just hit him with it. I always assumed it was a pistol whip. Because yeah, think you should innovate? Well, this wasn't innovate. Like most of this moveset is mostly animated, like based on ideas themed around like Undertale and such. But like, yeah, I guess it kind of just goes into interpretation. I do still like. I think I'm gonna keep the forward air the same because I do just like the idea of like, how do I gun? Like,
yes, you heard me right. There's a weapon in Undertale called the empty gun. Frisk doesn't shoot with it, they just throw the actual gun at the enemies. It's hilarious. Their back air could be the exact same thing.
This I'll change. No reason for it to be the same.
just, well, they're in the opposite direction. And their up and down airs could also be a ranged attack where Frisk throws an item. But instead of the empty gun, they'd throw the torn notebook.
I'd change both of these. Like, I don't mind using the torn notebook as, like, the weapon, but, like, they don't need to be these random ranged attacks. Like, I don't mind keeping the forward air as a single ranged attack, but, like, the rest don't need to be.
Or they're going straight up vertically for the up air, and straight down vertically for the down air. Frisk would have a small grab range using both of their arms. Their pummel would have them headbutt the opponent. Their forward throw would have them just pathetically push the foe forwards. Their back throw would have them just throw them backwards. Up throw could just have them throw them upwards, and down throw would just have them throw them on the ground, slightly popping them into the air. Very basic and boring throws, I'm aware, but Frisk is just a basic kid after all.
Yeah, I still agree with that, actually. I think the throws are very basic, but I think in context they're fine here.
Now for Frisk's special moves, and since the basic attacks incorporated Frisk's fight command, the special moves will be incorporated the other command, and that's acting. For quick context, fight in Undertale is what allowed Frisk to attack enemies, fairly straightforward, but the act command is what allowed Frisk to interact with enemies, and possibly end fights peacefully without hurting anybody.
I still agree with this concept where fighting, like the fight command are your basic attacks, and the special attacks are acting. Because acting is pretty special, I'd say, comparatively, when you look at most RPGs.
For the neutral special, it could be the act Ignore. This move would be utilized as a type of combo break. It would have Frisk make a pouty pose for a split second. If hit during this pose, Frisk would negate the knockback they would have taken from the opponent as well as half the damage they would have taken. This would also push the foe away for a short distance, allowing Frisk to get some distance if needed. This move, though, will leave Frisk vulnerable if they use it, but then aren't hit during the pout animation. Their side...
That's kind of underwhelming as an attack. I like the idea, but it needs something more. So I'm gonna say, like, add to it. Like, maybe, like, since you're ignoring, this could be a move that also ignores projectiles or something. Maybe I could just use a different act entirely, too. I don't know. Add to it or change. I'll figure that out later.
Special would be Flirt. Yes, Flirt. Frisk is a pretty forward child if they want to be. Flirt would have Frisk blow a small kiss that shoots a short-ranged heart-shaped projectile. Just for kicks, this heart would look just like Frisk's soul, because why not? This projectile is very weak and only does very small flinching damage at most. However, using this attack will send Frisk a fair distance opposite of the direction the kiss was blown. Frisk's up special would be...
Isn't Frisk like 10? Tell it to Undertale. I like this attack, though... I like the idea of, like, making a small little kiss that shoots out your soul kind of deal as, like, a projectile. Gonna change around how the actual move works, though.
Be the act Pose. Frisk would do a random pose, and posing would emit a small light that could knock foes away a short distance. It would also send Frisk upwards if used in the air. Frisk can pose 2 times in the air before going into freefall. The poses they would do would also mimic the poses that we see done by Mettaton EX during the fight with him. Because we all know that Mettaton is an excellent role model for children to copy, right?
Oh, yes.
And fine.
I think the up special is fine. Like, this can stay the same.
Finally, for Frisk's down special, they could...
Flex it!
Cringe.
Sorry.
Cringe.
They would use the flex command, and it would act as a type of counter. Frisk would literally just flex their arms, and if hit during this animation, the foe will be stunned in place, allowing Frisk to either attack or get away. Alright, and that...
Okay, here's my thought with Flex. Either we keep Flex and slightly change its functionality, or get rid of Flex and put Ignore with a different functionality here. That's what I'm thinking for this. Either fix Flex or put a fixed Ignore here. Because Flex and Ignore sort of do the same thing, so they were a little redundant.
That does it for Frisk's neutral moveset. But we ain't done here. Like I said at the beginning, this is just the moveset for Frisk while they're in their neutral mode. Frisk has 2 more movesets, one while in pacifist mode and the other in genocide mode. So it's time to get into those. Let's start with the pacifists. Pacifist mode would be obtained when Frisk's morality meter fills up completely to the left side. To recap, pacifism is built automatically over time the longer Frisk goes without attacking, or so long as they don't land any of their basic attacks anyway. And it will fill up faster if Frisk continues to successfully land their axe, the special attacks. While in pacifist mode, Frisk becomes much faster and can jump higher than in neutral mode. On top of that, they gain access to the option of crawling and an additional jump, bringing them to 3 jumps total.
Okay, I'm remembering kind of what I wanted to go for this. I think that I don't mind them moving a little faster, because here's what I'm thinking, just my first thoughts before I really get into the other 2 modes. I'm thinking more than likely I'm probably going to change a lot here, where to make the moveset more consistent across the entire way, but then change things thematically between the movesets, where for pacifist mode, yeah, you're a lot more agile, you move a lot faster, whereas in genocide mode you just hit way harder. Think something kind of like that. So yeah, I think the 3rd jump is unnecessary here. So let me go down to the gimmick. Nix the 3rd jump.
Higher advantage of pacifist mode allows Frisk to be just that, a pacifist.
Should Chris crawl by default? Yeah, I think Chris should crawl by default.
Every single one of Frisk's basic moves are outright changed to a bunch of other various acts. These attacks are much weaker than before, but they all have various effects, allowing Frisk to quickly end each confrontation they come across, as if they were sparing the opponent. The replaced jab for pacifist mode will be the talk command. This will act as a makeshift rapid jab, where a barrage of cartoony speech bubbles appear that can cause small flinching damage.
Okay, I'm trying to think here. Right now, honestly, I'm wondering if I should just overhaul this moveset and make it where even if you change to pacifist or genocide mode, the moveset itself stays the same. It's just your attributes that change. Maybe some attacks can gain new effects to represent the acting. But I kind of wonder. No? You don't think so? So you want the moveset to actually outright change with the, Okay. Alright, so you'd rather the moveset, actually change along with the modes. Okay, then we can keep that down, that's fine. Because I'm just spitballing some ideas right now for this. Because, yeah, I don't mind the idea of, a moveset changing to a completely new one. I'm just trying to think of, I'm wondering if there is a way to keep the moves consistent between each other. We can still change the moves, but like make them a little more consistent, so there's at least there's at least still a sense of familiarity between them. Talk can probably stay the same.
It's like how talking can sometimes slow enemies down in Undertale. Their new dash would have them running for a hug, but then tripping and falling. Their side tilt would be...
The pacifist dash is probably fine, actually, because the pacifist dash... Okay, so that I guess unintentionally, knowing past me, there's that bit of familiarity, because the neutral dash attack is swinging a stick, like, over and over again as you run forward, whereas pacifist dash is another run forward move, but with a different kind of ending. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of here for this.
The command shoo, where they do a shooing motion with their hand.
This, I think, is fine, because the idea of it is just funny. I did mention before how I want to change the neutral special, so here's what I'm going to do. Neutral side tilt, that's what I meant to say. Make it familiar to pacifist shoo. So they don't need to be the exact same animations, but the attacks could still be similar in a certain way.
It has short range, but deals incredible launching power. Want to get someone away from you? Just shoo him away. Up tilt would be cheer, where Frisk jumps up and down cheering.
Same for this. Because I do like the idea of poking the stick into the air. So I'm wondering for this, we can keep it as cheer or make it something else, but I wouldn't mind it being like an act that's somewhat similar to the stick poke. So make it familiar to neutral up tilt.
Their whole body is a hitbox, but it has short range. Down tilt would be pet. A little white dog will appear out of...
I can't change this, though. Wait a minute. No, I can't change this. This is the perfect down tilt. I forgot I did this. I refuse to change this one. Wait a minute. This is the perfect down tilt. All right, so I think okay. I did say I wanted to change the neutral down tilt, so make it familiar to the pacifist down tilt. I refuse to change this. And clearly, thank you, chat. You agree with me. Thank you. Anyone who says that this needs to be changed hates dogs. And if you hate dogs, you are a horrible person. I forgot I still love this idea. Like, dang it. This is such a good idea, actually, for a down tilt. That's so funny.
Nowhere sleeping on the ground next to Frisk, and they'll start petting him. Aww. This will make the dog's tail wag furiously, launching any foe who's hit by it. What a wholesome attack. Their side and up smashes will be just as wholesome, however. Remember the lesser dog, the goodest of boys whose neck gets longer the more you pet them? Well, one will appear next to Frisk, and they will pet this good boy, causing their neck to elongate and be used as a long-range attack. The side smash will have the head go horizontally, and the up smash will have the head go vertically. The longer you charge this move for, the more Frisk will pet the lesser dog, causing their neck to stretch even farther.
These need to stay too. These are such funny ideas. I gotta keep these. I refuse to get rid of these ones. These are such funny ideas. Like, these are so charming. I still like these. I love these ideas that I came up with before. Dang, finally, the rare past BJW, guys. That said, let me do this then. So for the neutral side smash, make familiar to pacifist, to pacifist. How do you spell pacifist again? Dang it. There you go. To pacifist side smash. And I said I wanted to change the up smash overall, so make that familiar to the up special pacifist. Or up smash up pacifist. Okay.
don't hit very hard and don't send opponents very far when they're at low damage, but they'd be great get away from me moves. As in, get away from me, I want to pet this pup. How dare you interrupt my pup pet time? Well, whenever you're done petting the pup, you can act like one for pacifist Frisk's down smash. It would be the command roll around. Frisk would roll around in the ground, flailing a bit and splashing mud everywhere. The attack deals small damage and has good launch power, and if...
I kind of like this down smash too. Dang. I did say I wanted to change the original down smash, so for this one I'm going to have it be, yeah, so again, similar thing. Just make it familiar to the pacifist one.
The mud hits the opponent...
Yeah, literally raffle. Yeah, literally that. It's literally what it is.
For all of pacifist Frisk's aerials, they would all effectively turn into a variation of Frisk's up special, and would be a different pose.
Don't like this, though. Nah. Just having pose, I think, is enough. So no, I think the aerial passive ability should just change outright. So yeah, so literally, like, for all of the pacifist aerial attacks, just change them outright. Like, I no longer like this idea. Just turning all the aerials into poses, no. I am fine with not doing that.
For each command. They would all work just like how their up special works, where upon their use, Frisk emits a quick light that knocks foes away, while at the same time, gains some vertical height. But the vertical height can only be gained once from any of the air attacks while airborne. So using any of the aerials again after gaining height from them the first time won't gain any height at all. Pacifist mode Frisk will grab by embracing the foe with a hug.
Aww. Where's their other arm? Where's the arm that's supposed to connect right here? That's so weird.
Their pummel will have them squeeze hard, giving the foe a bear hug. Their forward throw and backward throw would both have Frisk playfully spin the foe like a helicopter, then toss them in the appropriate direction. Their up throw would have Frisk hug the foe so hard that they slip out of their arms and fly upwards, and their down throw would have Frisk jump onto the opponent and hug them so hard that they make big damage before slipping out of Frisk's arms.
These are all fine. Those are all okay. Those are all okay.
All of those pacifist special attacks are enhanced versions of the previous special attacks. Ignore becomes Hope, a command that Frisk gets while fighting Azrael during the final battle of the pacifist route. It has the same effects as Ignore, but the button can be held down, and Frisk's active frames for this special can last up to 5 seconds, allowing for a much more reliable means of pulling this move off. It also has a lot less end lag if it fails to connect.
Okay, because of the nature of us wanting to fix around Ignore, it's gonna have, like, this is gonna have to kind of get the same treatment just based off of that familiarity.
Alert becomes Fetch. Now, instead of a heart, Frisk throws their unequipped stick, and a dog appears out of nowhere and retrieves the stick, then pounces Frisk once they bring it back. This mechanically works similar to Flirt, but now the projectile acts like a makeshift boomerang attack, and the pounce from the dog sends Frisk back even farther than the Flirt did. Ho!
I do like this. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Because I don't think we need both Ignore and Flex. We're keeping one or the other. So I'm thinking Flirt/Fetch should be turned into neutral specials. So make it neutral. Make it neutral, special. Same goes for, yeah, Fetch. Make it neutral, special. Throws the stick, a dog appears, retrieves the stick, then pounces Frisk once they bring it back. I don't think the pouncing part's necessary. Having it like a makeshift boomerang, I think, actually is a funny idea, though. But the pouncing part, I think, is unnecessary. So we can get rid of that part. Fix, remove the pounce. So just literally just have it like you throw the stick, it's a projectile. Dog, which acts as its own like hitbox kind of deal, runs after it, grabs stick, and then runs back to Frisk. Acting, yeah, it's a makeshift boomerang. I actually like that idea. But yeah, like the pounce is unneeded.
Pose now becomes Stylish Pose, and it works just like it did before, but now it can be used up to 5 times, and it won't even put Frisk into free fall. And Flex now becomes...
That I think is fine. I think keeping that, like, because yeah, if we get rid of the aerial poses, I think turning like up special into like a stronger version of pose, I think is okay.
becomes Hard Flex. It deals double the damage than the normal Flex does, and it has active frames that last even longer. On top of that, Frisk would now comedically float into any direction that the player chooses. A reference to the enemy Aaron in Undertale, a seahorse-looking jock that Frisk can have flexing contests with. But Aaron can flex too much to the point where they just float away, ending the battle.
Okay, so this is gonna have to go under the same as beforehand. Either fix the move, or like change it to ignore / or hope in this case, assuming we even still use hope.
The added float is great if you can predict the encounter in Edgeguard.
Though I do like the idea of floating away with flexing, so... What do you guys think? Flex or ignore? What do you guys like more? Because remember, if we choose to get rid of ignore, we lose this emoji. Kirby will no longer do ignore. Then again, I'm kind of already doing that because I'm changing flirt and fetch into neutral special. Ignore is funnier. Ignore, both. Ignore. Oh, more people are saying ignore. All right, we'll keep ignore then. So we'll just get rid of flex. All right.
Adding to pacifist Frisk's already insane recovery options, and that's it for the pacifist mode. Now, let's get to the right side of that bar. The much more brutal genocide mode.
Kind of ironic that I put the genocide mode on the right side of the bar. Because there's nothing right about genocide, guys.
As stated prior, the bar fills towards genocide when Frisk uses basic attacks and their pummel with their grab. It will also fill up a good chunk if Frisk can land a KO with their basic attack. When genocide mode is obtained, Frisk's stick is then replaced by the knife, and all of their attacks become much stronger and faster, all dealing high damage and launch power. This does come at the cost of recovery and range though, effectively turning Frisk into a version of Little Mac.
Yeah, I agree with this partially. Like, yeah, replacing the stick with the knife, yeah. You lose a little bit of range, but you gain a lot of power and your attacks move way faster. Because you're now emphasizing the attack side of things. Okay. And honestly, just exchanging the knife or the stick with the knife will make it a lot easier to keep the basic attacks familiar, assuming I didn't already do that.
Frisk's attacks while in genocide mode look the same for the most part, just with a knife instead of
Oh, okay, I already do that. Cool.
Just
all right.
keep in mind that all of these attacks are way faster than before.
So for the most part, I just need to fix around the pacifist acts to make them. Well, they're still gonna have like their their quirkiness and looking charming and whatever, but there's still that amount of familiarity, like to make it match the neutral and genocide ones.
Their jab is the vertical knife swing, but it's much faster and can be spammed. The dash attack is running forward while crazily swinging the knife around. Oh god, someone stop that kid before they poke someone's eye out!
Wasn't this before that meme? I was like, what do you have there? A knife! No! Wasn't this before that meme? It's funny.
The side tilt is a quick horizontal knife.
So yeah, this can be changed because we're changing the original side tilt. So change this one as well.
Up tilt is an overhead knife swing.
Change this as well. Just turn it. So it would have to be turned into a. So instead of poking a stick into the air, you're poking your knife into the air. You're stabbing your knife into the air. So change it. Make it a knife stab into the air.
Back to front. And down tilt is a low to the ground knife.
Change for this one as well to make it match the whatever I end up doing for the neutral.
side smash, even the tough glove is replaced with the knife. It is the strongest weapon, after all.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this one. Do you guys think that for, even in Genocide mode, the weapons that neutral Frisks use, should Genocide mode Frisk just keep to using those weapons? Or should Genocide mode Frisk just choose to only stick with the knife? Like, should I go ahead and just make the basic attacks very familiar and let Genocide Frisk use the other kinds of tools? Or just only have the knife? Keep the real knife? Okay. Well, no, honestly, I think I should just let Genocide Frisk use the other tools, because technically, even when you're playing a Genocide route, you are using those other tools. You don't actually get the knife until the end. Yeah, the knife is iconic, but they still have it. Yeah, it is optional. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Random Substance. It is technically optional. You don't have to use the knife. In fact, come to think of it, isn't the knife technically worthless? Because you get it right before you fight Sans, which does not even do anything, because you keep missing him anyway. So no, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and change this where they will use the other tools. It's just the stick specifically that gets replaced by the knife. So, but they'll still have the other tools, so that way we can easily keep that familiarity. But some things can be changed depending. Let's see here. So the so change. Make it like neutral.
Frisk will do a straight lunge with the knife. Up smash has Frisk swing the knife overhead numerous...
Yeah, that needs to change. Yeah, so once again, make it like neutral.
Times like a crazy person. And down smash will have spears stabbed from the ground all around Frisk. But instead of them being
yeah, so because we're changing this whole concept anyway, this one just, yeah, so change, make it like neutral.
Undyne's magic spears, it'll be Sans' bone spears. The Genocide neutral layer will have Frisk spin in place with the...
Make it like neutral. I may as well just copy and paste this one, this one little thing here. Make it like neutral.
Knife out. The other areas will, however, no longer be long-range attacks. They will all just use the knife for these attacks instead of throwing an object. Forward air would have Frisk stab forward a couple of times.
Make it like neutral. Make it like neutral. Make it like neutral. Make it like neutral. There. Easy fixes.
Ridley's forward air.
Let me at least see what these are, though.
Do these two get along, or do you think they just try to kill each other? Question.
I never got an answer to that, actually. Would Genocide Frisk get along with Ridley? Or would they try to kill each other? What do you guys think? I don't think I ever actually got an answer to this. Both. They get along while trying to kill each other. Also, I just noticed, though, for some reason, the white isn't there in the teeth. I wonder why.
For later. Back air would have Frisk do a quick stab backwards, similar to Ganondorf's back air. Another duo who might get along and or kill each other. Huh. Anyway, up air would be an overhead knife swing, and down air would be a downwards flying kick, similar to Simon's down air.
Actually... Actually thinking about that flying kick thing for the down air, it probably wouldn't hurt to do something like this, where because of the nature of the kind of poor recovery of the genocide mode, because of the fallen angel kind of motif, it probably wouldn't hurt to have this character have a move that helps him get back to the ground quicker. So the down air can still be like the others, like they can still be similar in concept and design, but it can be the one that actually does drop. Make it the only dropping attack.
For the genocide grab, Frisk would only grab with one arm. Their pummel would be a headbutt, their forward throw would have them elbow the foe forwards, their back throw would have them kick the foe backwards, up throw would have them headbutt them into the air, and down throw would...
I forgot I did that. That's horrific. I think all the throws are fine, because for the most part, like, it's just the animations that change between them, but for the most part, it seems like they all have, you know, similar-ish, like, launch distances or whatever. Like, just, you know, they would just vary in angles, distances, and, you know, damage, but for the most part, they'd still be similar-ish, even if the animations are different. Yeah. We actually killed the grab dude. So the grab dude we've been seeing since then, that was his brother. Original grab dude has been dead all along, guys.
Just like how the basic attack went through a drastic change for pacifist mode, the specials would also go through a drastic change for genocide mode. The genocide neutral special would be a tornado knife.
That's right, I remember that I did this. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to change all of the genocide specials into something else. Just to make them a little more interesting. What would I do, though? Because they can't be axe. That defeats the purpose of genocide mode. They can't be axe. I'm going to have to think on that. So here, let's do this. I'm going to say, yeah, so this one I think can be changed. So change genocide neutral special.
The Meta Knight neutral special, but it gains no vertical height or really goes any distance in the air for that matter. It can be moved while on the ground, and this attack can keep going for a while the button is held down, but it will slow down after a bit. The new side special would be a knife charge, similar to the sword charge attack that the Mii swordsman can get.
Change this one as well. I'd say, since this is the side special, I'd say move it over to the neutral special, but there's really not much point in this situation.
It sends Frisk forwards a considerable distance with their knife sticking forward, but the distance of this attack is greatly reduced if used in the air. Up special would be a multi-stab attack. It would work like a type of rapid jab that goes upwards above Frisk.
This needs to be changed. I don't much care. I still want to kind of stick to the idea of genocide Frisk, like being again the fallen angel kind of deal. Like it has bad recovery, whereas the pacifist one has great recovery. It probably wouldn't hurt though to give them some kind of aerial movements, just for the sake of balancing. And even if you have a small amount of recovery, that you know, it wouldn't hurt. Like even if they have a small amount of recovery, it wouldn't hurt. But yeah, like this can be changed as well.
This attack can be used indefinitely so long as the button is held down. And the down special would be a knife counterattack, which is your basic run-of-the-mill counter that you see in Smash. Oh, and for kicks, if the counter is successful, a little happy face icon will appear above their head, the same one that appears during the later portion of the genocide route when the player encounters a monster after killing enough of them.
Honestly, I think actually this is the one special I think that can stay, just for this whole concept, because this is funny, and because whether it's flex or ignore, like this can still work as a familiar like extension off of those. So ironically, the counter can stay. That one's fine. How funny is that?
You homicidal maniacs. Now, with all of that out of the way, let me voice some concerns that I know a good amount of you may have after I explain the pacifist...
Oh yeah, yes. Please explain it to me, past BJ, because I also have some concerns.
Genocide movesets. Pacifist I know looks very annoying to deal with. A moveset that practically guarantees safe recovery and is hard to land hits on? Just ban Frisk now. and genocide with a very...
We already went over that. We got rid of the pose thing, like the aerial attack pose thing, and took away that third jump. So it's like they'd still be an agile character, but it wouldn't be like as obnoxious as like I'm like concerning here.
A boring looking moveset and terrible recovery? Just throw that at bottom tier. But hear me out on this. With how the morality bar is set up, even if you choose to purposefully fill the bar one way to get one of these modes during the fight, it will still take a good while before it fully fills to one side. Let's say you were playing a 3-stock match with a 7-minute time limit. You more than likely would obtain one of these modes until you're about 5 minutes in with 1 stock left of key.
That's too long. No, that you should be able to change into either form as fast as you need to. Like, not necessarily immediately, because that kind of defeats the purpose, because pacifist and genocide modes in Undertale is, a process you gotta go through. But for 5 minutes to happen, that's too long. Again, this is why I stopped including numbers and specific data, and kept things a little more vague, so that way it can be open to interpretation, as well as, leave it open for, scaling and balancing, depending on what would be appropriate for the balancing. But yeah, so
long as both players are equal in skill. So generally you'll be playing in neutral mode for a majority of the time anyway. So you may ask, what's the point then? Well, it all has to do with how you want to deal with a match depending on your playstyle, and even how you can change the outcome towards the end, as well as how to deal with the other opponent and the character they play to turn the tide of battle in your favor, or just to make the battle go in a way that you're most comfortable with.
This makes sense to a degree, because it's like, obviously, like, if you're playing, like, just because of the nature of Smash, there are going to be some characters that have inherent advantages or disadvantages against others. So that's always what makes the multi-tier characters like Pokemon Trainer, so interesting, because they have options to counter those disadvantages or advantages. So it'd be the same kind of deal here with Frisk. Like, so I get the argument I'm trying to make here, where it's like, if you're playing as a character and you have a basic understanding of those advantages and disadvantages, then picking a certain mode will, to give yourself the edge is ideal, obviously. It's just no reason it should take 5 minutes.
Pacifist is very safe and easy to use. You're pretty guaranteed to land hits and to be able to get away if you need to. Only problem with it is that landing those hits won't be very rewarding, and it will take a bit before you can land kills. So you'll need to be a bit more tactical, just like how you need to be when you're playing the pacifist run in Undertale. Genocide mode, on the other hand, is a lot more straightforward.
So, fun fact, yeah. Majority of this recording obviously was me, but you'll see here that I borrowed Game Grumps footage for the Sans fight, because even then, to this day, for, like... Well, actually, no, have I ever? I forget if I have or not. I remember, at least back then, I could never get to Sans. I don't think I could even get past Undyne, originally in the Genocide mode. Like, Undyne the Undying, I could never get past her. I forget, though, if I ever actually got to Sans at one point. But at least back then, I wasn't able to. So that's why I borrowed the Sans footage from Game Grumps.
Fighting in Undertale can definitely be seen as the faster means of dealing with battles, and by the time you begin initiating the Genocide mode, you're pretty strong, and are one-shotting pretty much every enemy. So it makes sense that Genocide mode would be very strong. That said, of course the moveset for Genocide mode might look a little boring, so is grinding literally every monster in Undertale just to get the Genocide run at all. On top of that, being in the Genocide run does have consequences for your game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this was the theming I was trying to go for here, where obviously the pacifist mode, because I saw all of your reactions to a lot of those pacifist attacks. How you wanted, because you said they're so charming looking. I like those. Don't get rid of that. Because yeah, the pacifist mode's super charming. Like you get to see all these unique interactions and like all these funny like all these funny just whatevers and whatnot. Whereas Genocide mode, it's just fight, die, fight, die. It's repetitive. Genocide mode is repetitive. So that I do, in a sense, agree with Past Me here in the theming of this. I get it. I do still think the changes that we applied earlier do still need to be put into. Like, there should still be a bit of familiarity between all three modes. And yeah, making the genocide attacks at least a little more visually interesting, just for the sake of it being an interest. Because even if I choose a specific theme, that's not necessarily an excuse to make the moveset look boring. So
in Smash, your consequence for getting genocide mode is the loss of your recovery. Just like how you can never really recover the true pacifist run after getting genocide mode.
Yeah.
You monster. But hey, you can kill things faster now, so have fun with that. Overall, think of it like this. The pacifist run can be seen as the easier run, so pacifist mode is easier to use. Whereas the genocide mode is a super difficult run. Therefore, genocide mode would be harder to use.
Well, it's super difficult when you get to Undyne and then subsequently Sands afterward. Before that, it's actually not that hard at all. It's literally just fight, fight, fight. The only actual hard parts about that are Undyne and Sands.
Of course, you don't need to go pacifist or genocide. You can just manipulate things to stay in neutral, just like you can in Undertale. It's all dependent on player preference, and the options are there. Again, just like in Undertale. In any which case, I think I've said my piece about this giant moveset as a whole. Let's go ahead and finish things up. For the final smash, it could be the very options that you're given in Undertale. Will you fight, or will you show mercy and spare? When you activate this final smash, it would activate a quick cinematic that would have Frisk floating in front of the fight and spare buttons. When you're in neutral mode, you can then choose between the two buttons. If you choose fight, it deals large damage to all opponents within a fixed distance to Frisk, but doesn't send them very far. It will also fill the morality bar towards genocide by a good chunk. If you choose spare, it will launch opponents who are very close by very far, possibly KOing if their damage is already high enough, but it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. And of course, choosing spare will fill the morality bar a good chunk towards pacifism. Now, if you're in pacifist mode and you use your final smash...
Okay, so for the neutral final smash, I think this is actually still fine. It's a final smash that, like, well, it can technically be turned off, when final smashes are disabled for matches. It is still a means of being able to get to one mode or the other if you need to. There is one slight issue with it, and that... Well, no, not necessarily, because... I was going to say, like, there is one slight issue with it in that if you want to stay neutral, it might cause issues for you. But I think the workaround for that would be, like, if you're, like, closer to pacifism and you don't want to go over the edge, you just pick fight instead. That will kind of limit what you're able to do. Like, I think it's just circumstantial.
Frisk will use save, which is what's used during the final boss of the pacifist run. It will launch all opponents on screen even farther than what neutral spare can do, pretty much guaranteeing KOs even if they're at low percentages. And the genocide mode final smash defaults to fight, having Frisk deal insane amounts of damage.
So I know this is kind of to this day I still get comments about this one where people will be like, people will say this should be a race. And honestly, I disagree still. Because the concept of a race is literally like, you're getting rid of everything. You're just stopping it all. Whereas, again, with genocide, it's fight, 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 fight. That's all you click. You only click erase at the very end. That actually comes to mind. There is a chance, I don't recall what I did for the victory animations for Frisks, but clicking the erase button honestly sounds more like a glorified victory animation, not really a final smash.
All opponents on the screen, it will automatically KO them if they're at a high enough damage percent, just like Ridley and Zelda's final smashes.
Okay, the final smashes I think are fine. Those can stay as they are.
On to the alternate colors. The first color would have Frisk in a green shirt with a single yellow stripe, in reference to Kara.
Okay, I remember these colors. So I actually did bring this up in the Mistakes and Issues video, because some people brought this up to me, and I actually do agree. The colors should have been based off of the human souls. And actually, an idea that I had recently, that to add to that, the colors, depending on the soul you're wearing, could also be wearing the specific pieces of armor that is commonly associated with the soul. Because I think we kind of find out what armor is associated with what, because it's implied in the game that the armor is like that Frisk can equip is pieces or articles of clothing that was left behind by the other children. And we kind of get a hint at what kids wore what armor originally from the Photoshop Flowey fights. Because when we see like a soul being used to attack, that soul uses a specific kind of thing that relates to that armor. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I am thinking potentially that yeah, like the colors here, like the Kara color I think is fine. Because there's only 6 human souls, so like there's the default Frisk, the Kara color I think is fine, and then the remaining 6 colors can be references to the other souls, and they can also be wearing the different pieces of like armor.
First human to fall into the underground who died, and don't worry, no jump scares today. The second color would give Frisk a white shirt with a red collar and blue pants.
So let me just go
to the ever-lovable bony boy Papyrus. Here's a purple shirt with the Delta Rune symbol on it, as well as white hair. In reference to Toriel, the motherly goat mom who you meet in the ruins. Here's a black shirt with blue pants and red hair, in reference to the ever-aggressive captain of the Royal Guard, Undyne. A yellow shirt with brown stripes and yellow hair, in reference to the monster kid you meet in Snowden. A pink shirt with machine-like patterns and black pants and hair, in reference to the entertainment murder bot, Mettaton. And finally, a color where Frisk has blue skin, a black shirt with an armor pattern, and black pants, in reference to Chris, the main character to Undertale's sequel, Delta Rune.
I like how many people got mad at me for calling it a sequel, even though like I guess I just didn't do a good enough job about this, because you heard the way I said it, like to Undertale's sequel. It's because it's a sequel in like technicality only, because it is a game that came after Undertale, even though it's not really that. Or it's not really a sequel or a prequel. It's kind of just its own thing. So it's whatever. Like people just didn't pick up on my cue is all. Like the sad thing is, this is actually a pretty good color spectrum looking at right here, because yeah, blue, green, white, purple, black, yellow, pink, and then yeah, like blues, like teals and whatnot, navies. So this is a good color spectrum. I do still just prefer the idea of the human soul kind of deal. So
for the stage entrance, it would start with a flower patch on the stage, and Frisk would fall from the sky landing into the patch, causing the flowers to scatter after they hit the ground. Then they'd get up and pick up the stick that's left behind after the flowers scatter.
That's still fine.
Clear reference at the beginning of Undertale when Frisk first falls into the underground. For the first taunt, neutral mode will have Frisk hold the save light in their hands before it blinks out as they smile. Pacifist mode would have them hold the save light, but then pull it towards their chest while giving a more gentle smile. And genocide mode would have them hold the save light in one hand, but then crush it while giving a wicked smile.
These taunts are fine.
For the second taunt, neutral mode would quickly pull out a slice of Toriel's pie, and then quickly eat it. Pacifist mode would pull out a Starfey, then quickly drink that. And genocide mode would pull out a snowman piece and scarf that down. Poor snowman.
These taunts are also pretty good. Okay, these taunts are fine.
And for their third taunt, it would have Frisk's cell phone ring for all 3 modes. For neutral mode, they'll answer the phone, and you can hear Papyrus' sounds coming from it before they hang up. For pacifist mode, they would answer the phone but hear Toriel instead. And for genocide mode, they'd hear Flowey, but then smash the phone on the ground. Man.
I'm a little on and off on that last taunt. Like, what do you guys think that cell phone taunt's fine? I think it's okay-ish. I'm wondering if I could think of something better. Like, what do you guys think of that cell phone taunt? You guys still like that cell phone taunt? I'll say possible change for the cell phone taunt, but we'll see. Because I'm like balancing on that one. We'll see.
To end things off with the victory animations, the first animation would all start with Frisk looking at the Mercy icon. Neutral mode would have Frisk select the Mercy, but then select Run, and then just run off screen. Pacifist mode would select Mercy and then hit Spare, then give a big smile. And Genocide mode would just slash the Mercy button in two, and then give a more creepy smile. The second victory...
Those I think are fine, because that's pretty much your glorified victory animations for these for all these.
The animation will all start with the camera panning towards Frisk.
Ooh, actually, okay, yeah. Some people are suggesting make the genocide one dead silence. Okay, yeah, I can work with that. I just like the idea, though, that whenever they use this taunt, they just pull out a new cell phone and just keep smashing it on the ground. That's kind of funny.
Neutral Frisk would turn around as the camera gets close, then lose their balance as they're startled by the camera and fall over. Pacifist Frisk would just turn around and do a pose as the camera gets close, and Genocide Frisk would quickly turn around and slash at the camera, causing the camera to back up.
Those, I think, are all pretty good still.
And finally, for the last victory animation, Neutral Frisk would be grabbed by Papyrus, who would then throw them into the air playfully, and then pose with Frisk on his shoulder. Pacifist Frisk would be thrown up and down into the air constantly by various characters from the Undertale series. Papyrus, Undyne, Alphys, and Toriel will all be the ones throwing them up. Sans will also be there, but he's just standing in the background watching. And as for Genocide Frisk, there is no friends. Just Frisk standing there alone, wiping dust off their shirts. They'll then look at the camera with a face eerily similar to Kara's jump scare face. Huh. That's a depressing way to end this off, but...
I think, though, honestly, I think all of the victory animations are fine. I think all of those are okay. Oh, you're right, the erase. The erase. I forgot about that. I wonder, though. You know what we can do? We can change the first one. So instead of them looking at a mercy command, looks at the erase command. So looks at erase command, then gives a creepy grin before the entire screen goes dark. So literally, like they click the button, give a creepy look at the screen, and then it just all vanishes. That's it. It's just it was all erased. It's gone. Okay, I like that idea. That works. Yeah, minus the victory screen HUD, obviously, but yeah, I like that idea. Okay. Okay.
That does it for Frisk.
That does it for Frisk, yeah. So this one was definitely like a good go through. There's still a lot of the ideas here that I still liked. I still liked, like going between the modes and such. They just needed to be fine tuned. Yeah, there's a bunch of attacks that need to be changed and help make the attacks feel more familiar with one another. Excuse me. Specials need to be mixed around a little bit. Final smashes were fine. Colors need to get fixed up. Taunts were all fine, except for that third one, which we fixed around a little bit. And then okay. So got a pretty good handle on what I'd like to change around for Frisk and such. All right. So how long have I been streaming for? Almost close to 3 hours. Let's just knock out Shadow. He's on my screen. Let's just go ahead and do... If I recall correctly, Shadow was a shorter video, too. So we should be able to get through Shadow pretty quickly. Skip this.
Trying to spoil my plan.
Oh yeah, this was the first... my first episode as well that finally had requested people.
After everyone thought would be an Echo Fighter for Sonic, until all their hopes were dashed when they saw him back in assist trophy status during this final Smash Direct. The ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I'll just get one thing out of the way real quick. I actually don't really care for Shadow. Well, more specifically, I don't care for Shadow post Sonic Adventure 2. I liked him in SA2, and I also really like his comic iteration. But don't worry.
This still applies, actually. They're still not, aside from Sonic Adventure 2 and kind of Sonic Heroes, honestly, Like, there's still not very many, like, incarnations of Shadow from the games that I really like. I heard that he's great in Sonic Prime. I have not seen Sonic Prime yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing how Shadow is in Sonic Prime. But this opinion still pretty much holds up to this day. Like, I'm not a big Shadow fan. Specifically, I'm not a big fan of what they did with him after Sonic Adventure 2 and kind of Sonic Heroes. He was okay-ish as Sonic Heroes, and that was kind of it, though. But, like, he's great in the comics. Like, I don't really read the comics, but, like, from what I've seen of him in the comics, from, like, what little I have read of them, like, he's amazing in the comics. They write him so well there. But, yeah, this opinion pretty much still holds up.
Just because I don't like Shadow doesn't mean I'll intentionally make him bad or anything. I plan to give him the same treatment I've given each other character I've done up to now. In fact, I've done one better, and I've even given him a unique moveset and not made him an echo of Sonic like everyone expects him to be. So, with that said, on to Shadow himself for the few of you who don't know who he is. Shadow the Hedgehog made his debut in the before-mentioned Sonic Adventure 2. He's an artificial life form created by Professor Gerald Robotnik, the grandfather of everybody's favorite Williams. Shadow the Hedgehog made his debut in the before-mentioned Sonic Adventure 2. He's an artificial life form.
Oh yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 was my first Sonic game.
The grandfather of everybody's favorite robot-making villain, Dr. Eggman. Shadow was created as a means to help towards the discovery of eternal life, mostly to help Eggman's cousin, Maria, who was suffering from a deadly disease. Fortunately, she didn't die from the disease. Unfortunately, she does die from a bad case of bullet. Shadow didn't take it very well.
Why did that joke hold up so well? Actually, that's dark. That's dark, but that still kind of makes me giggle.
And promptly tried to destroy the Earth. He came around, though. Then he died. Then he came around again, but this time with amnesia. His dumb alien dad came to Earth for a bit. Shadow remembered everything, and now works for the same government agency that killed Maria and made his life difficult. Don't ask too many questions. As for Shadow...
Now you got a better understanding of why I don't much care for Shadow after SA2.
Being a fighter, he'd be near identical to Sonic. Very fast, no doubt the second fastest character on the roster right behind Sonic. Yes, Sonic is canonically faster than Shadow. He'd be lightweight and would rely on high combo potential or hit-and-run strategies. He'd have 2 jumps and would be able to both wall jump and wall cling. Shadow would have a 3-hit jab. Just like Sonic, it would be 2 punches, then a kick. His dash attack would also be just like Sonic's, with a running dash kick. And his side tilt would be... I'm kidding. Shadow would have a 3-hit jab based off of his jab attack from the Game Boy Advance game Sonic Battle.
So, I know that the Shadow the Hedgehog game also gave Shadow a 3-hit jab. I think I still prefer the Sonic Battle one, though, just because it looks a little more interesting. Because I think if I recall correctly, the Shadow the Hedgehog one was just like, what? It was like 2 karate chops and then a backflip kick? Whereas this one is like...
The first hit would be a horizontal karate chop. The second hit would be a quick diagonal roundhouse kick. And the final hit would be a quick turnaround back kick.
Like, this is just way more interesting than the Shadow the Hedgehog one, I believe. So the jab is fine. I think the jab's okay. Like, this is still a very interesting jab to me.
His dash attack would be a quick sideways break, causing a large amount of flames and sparks to fly out of the bottom of his hover.
That's fine.
Another attack from Sonic Battle. Shadow's side tilt would be a quick, long-reaching roundhouse kick.
That can be changed. That's a bit generic.
Despite my earlier joke, actually will be just like Sonic's, being a double high kick, but this one will release flames and sparks from his hover shoes as he kicks.
I can change that as well. That can be changed.
His down tilt will be a quick 360 low to the ground spin kick, an attack that we see Shadow use in Sonic 06. Didn't think you'd see references from that game, eh? Well, Shadow did get the most love from that game, so there's more to come from it later on. Shadow's side smash would be a quick backhanded punch with a small chaos explosion enveloping Shadow's hand once it reaches the peak of the punch. Another attack we see in Sonic Battle. His up smash would be a vertical arm stab chop directly upwards with another chaos explosion enveloping Shadow's hand once it reaches the peak of the attack.
Okay, down tilt I think is still fine. Side smash I think is fine. Up smash I'd like to do something a little bit different for that. Because this kind of gives me Mewtwo vibes right now. So change up smash.
And his down smash is another Sonic Battle attack, with him unleashing 2 chaos explosions from each hand on both sides of himself.
I'm wondering if I should change this one too, because this really isn't a low to the ground attack. Yeah, I know this is technically a direct reference, but I think I want to change the down smash as well.
Shadow's neutral air would be a single horizontal helicopter spin kick. The forward air would be a 3-hit with him unleashing 2 chaos explosions from each hand on both sides of himself. Shadow's neutral air would be a single horizontal helicopter spin kick.
If I recall correctly, actually, isn't that literally like an aerial attack that he gets in Shadow the Hedgehog, like in gameplay as well? I think it's the same kind of move, isn't it? Like he does like a helicopter, like a lateral spin kick. I believe it's the same kind of attack. Yeah. So they just so happened to use one of the attacks that he had in game in this cutscene, and even though I guess I just didn't know about that attack originally until I think I found out about that more recently. But yeah, so I think this it's because of what it's technically referencing. You can say the same.
The forward air would be a 3-hit attack with him doing a quick chop, then 2 kicks straight forwards. Another attack borrowed from Sonic 06. The back air would be
Alright, forward air is fine. This back air, though.
a quick backward spin kick.
That looks ugly. No, I don't like that. Changing the back air. Wait, you think that stays? Why'd that stay?
The forward air would be a 3-hit attack with him doing a quick chop, then 2 kicks straight forwards. Another attack borrowed from Sonic 06. The back air would be a quick...
You want this to stay? I don't know. I don't think I really like this anymore. Looks a little odd.
backward spin kick. His up air would be an upside down spinning drill kick.
Possible change. I kind of like the drill kick idea for Shadow, but possible change.
And his down air would be just like Sonic's down air, an angled downward falling kick. It may be just like Sonic's, but it actually is a reference to Shadow's air attack from Sonic Battle. And Sonic Battle did come out before Sonic was ever in Smash, so really Sonic took Shadow's attack?
Faker! Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself...
Down air's fine.
Shadow would have an average grab range with him grabbing the foe with a single arm. His pummel would be a quick chop with his other arm. His forward throw would be an elbow check forwards. His back...
I don't know about the elbow check. I want to change that one. The back air, though. This stays.
Back throw. Okay, this one's actually my favorite. He would teleport behind the opponent and then roundhouse kick them in the back of the head. His up throw would have Shadow teleport high into the air, then grab
that back air stays.
foe's face and slam them into the ground, bouncing them into the air.
I like the up air too. The up air is fine.
And the down throw would have Shadow step on the foe and then fry them with his hover shoe.
Okay, throws are mostly pretty good. It's just the forward throw I want to change.
Shadow's neutral special attack would be the homing attack, and it would work mechanically just like Sonic's.
Alright, so these specials. Let me think on these. The specials probably can do with the most amount of changes for the most part. Let me think here.
Neutral special. Only it would be slower, but stronger.
And no guns! Guns are lame. Guns are bad.
Hey, I said I'd give Shadow a unique moveset. I never said he wouldn't have some shared assets with Sonic. After all, Shadow's always had a near-identical moveset to Sonic. I mean, he was designed off the Supersonic mural found on Angel Island.
Okay, I probably should mention this is I think this is just like a theory that I'm sitting here talking exclaiming to be factual. So take this with a grain of salt. It's heavily implied that this is the case, but we don't actually know.
Meaning he really is a Sonic copycat. Even though he was created like 40 years before Sonic was even born, so then Sonic is... Now I'm stopping right there. Anyway, Shadow...
So, I kind of want Shadow to have the homing attack, honestly, because it's like... Because, like, Shadow, I did not give a spin dash, because, aside from Sonic Adventure 2, we don't really see Shadow use the spin dash all that much, but he has always had the homing attack. And I feel like the homing attack really only works as a neutral special. I don't see it working anywhere else, especially since it does work so similarly to Sonic's. Like, making it something else aside from neutral special, I think would just be jarring more than anything else. So I think the homing attack is fine.
The side special would be his signature Chaos Spear. It would shoot a single energy needle straight forwards which explodes on contact. If Shadow uses this attack in the air, it would be thrown diagonally downwards instead.
Basic projectile. I'm wondering though. Maybe instead of an explosion. So let's do this. So fix. Get rid of explosion. Make it a stunning attack. So make it like a utility kind of projectile. Kind of like that deal. So like something to kind of help hold people in place for Shadow, like if he aims it well. And again, just because of because Chaos Spear could be a move that could work as a neutral special, but because the homing attack just makes the most sense as a neutral special, that's gonna have to default the Chaos Spear to the side special.
His up special would be the signature Lightspeed Dash, appropriate since Shadow and the Lightspeed Dash both debuted in Sonic Adventure 2.
That is incorrect, actually. The Lightspeed Dash debuted in Sonic Adventure 1. But I forgot that it was in Sonic Adventure 1 because you barely use it in that game.
For context, the Lightspeed Dash is a move that both Sonic and Shadow can use where they can travel at high speeds across a trail of rings. This attack would be a combination of Fox's side special and Pac-Man's side special. Where upon its use, the player can use the control stick to create a trail of rings. After about a second, Shadow would automatically travel across the ring trail in an instant, hurting anybody in the way of the path. And for Shadow...
I think that can be changed. I like the Lightspeed Dash, but I think that can be changed.
As down special, it would be his signature and rather infamous Chaos Control. For this attack, I combined the Chaos Burst attack that he gets in Sonic Battle with Meta Knight's down special. If you use the attack and immediately let go of the button, Shadow will just teleport normally and reappear at a decent distance away. However, if you hold the button down after using the attack, when Shadow reappears, he'll do a small Chaos Blast attack, dealing big damage to anybody caught in the explosion. The blast, however, does have a lot of end lag, and it will put Shadow into free fall if he uses it in the air. Chaos Blast.
Let me re-listen to that.
Chaos Control. For this attack, I combined the Chaos Burst attack that he gets in Sonic Battle with Meta Knight's down special. If you use the attack and immediately let go of the button, Shadow will just teleport normally and reappear at a decent distance away. However, if you hold the button down after using the attack, when Shadow...
If you use the attack and immediately let the button go, he'll reappear a decent distance away. For a down special, that's going to be kind of awkward, because you'd have to do something where, where after you activate it, you'd have to quickly... Because this is a move that you can aim. Just like Meta Knight's down special, you're not limited to only going down with it. You can go into any direction, so it can still be used as a type of recovery. Chaos Control should be the up special, not the down special. Only thing I can think of is, best to say here, if we were to make... Because this is a move that can work as both an up special or a down special. It can work either way. And we wouldn't even need to change the functionality of it. Literally, it's he teleports. If you don't hold the button down, while he's teleporting, he will reappear normally. If you do hold the button down while he's teleporting, he explodes. He does a Chaos Blast kind of deal. So this is a move that can work as either an up special or a down special. My whole thing is if we were to, because I do want to change the Lightspeed Dash, that can probably go ahead and go. If we make the Chaos Control the up special, The only thing I can think of to make the down special is a spin dash. Or the spin charge, I guess. Because I'm not giving Shadow any guns. I am just not. That is too lame. I am not giving him guns. Down special is Chaos Blast. I mean, that's kind of already a part of this Chaos Control. Because, like,
It appears he'll...
what is this if not, like, a smaller, condensed version of Chaos Blast? Like, it kind of just is Chaos Blast. Just because if you want to use, like, the Chaos Blast from Sonic and from Shadow the Hedgehog, that's like a giant explosion. That'd be way too big for Smash. I think the Chaos Burst is enough. Like, that fills the same role as Chaos Blast. And I think making it a part of Chaos Control, I think, is fine, just as, like, a means of, like, reflecting this very special attack that came from Sonic Battle. Why not have a stop sign or a stick or a stick still from the home game if one is looking for a down special? What? The fire spin dash from the Sonic Smash. The fire spin dash. Different idea, kind of. It's kind of the same idea, actually. Didn't Shadow get, like, a fire somersault in Sonic Adventure 2? I believe he did. Yeah, to break iron crates. Okay, here's what I want to do. Here's an idea. I have an idea. Okay, so change down special. Change. Make this into up special. New, so change. So here's my new idea for Shadow's down special. At default, it's the fire somersault. So fire somersault attack. But that's if you tap it. If you mash the button, it becomes a fire spin dash. How does that sound, guys? Because honestly, here's my whole thing with Shadow. Did he even really need the fire ring? Because, like, his shoes already make fire. So it always made sense to me that Shadow should always have, like, more fire things to him, right? So, like, a basic fire somersault as, like, a quick get-in move, or the spin dash. Yeah, I like that. So change fire somersault if you tap button, fire spin charge, or spin dash, whatever, if you mash the button. I like that. That's a good idea for Shadow's down special. Alright, so that we can finally answer everyone's wishes of making the Chaos Control his up special. There you guys go. It's air from his shoes? No, the shoes are jets. Like that, they are like they're not air shoes. Like there's very clearly like flames coming out of the bottom of that. Like they're jet shoes. Yeah. Like what do you think happens for like that dash attack? Like if we go back. Like, what's going on here? Like what is coming out of the bottom of his shoes there if not some kind of flame?
Back kick. His dash attack would be a...
Like, this... What is this? That's not air. That is fire. Alright.
And rather infamous, Chaos Control. For this class, however, does have a lot of end lag, and it will put Shadow into free fall if he uses it in the air.
Alright. Final smash, not changing. Not changing this.
Chaos control.
I thought about just having Shadow use a powered-up version of the Chaos Blast, or even using it while Super Shadow, but I think this idea is a lot more epic. Shadow would turn into Super Shadow and release a large wave of energy around himself, like how Meta Knight activates his Final Smash in Ultimate now. Anyone caught in the wave would be pulled into a cinematic Final Smash where Shadow teleports the foe into outer space, where they're then obliterated by the Eclipse Cannon, and shot back down onto the stage. This attack will cause an automatic KO if the opponent ends up with more than 100% of damage before the attack ends, just like Ridley's Final Smash.
This Final Smash is rad. I still like this idea. I'm keeping it.
For Shadow's colors, 5 of them would be pretty basic.
Yeah, and honestly, all of those are still fine. Like, let Shadow kind of keep his like black colors, but just change the color of the stripes. Those are all fine, honestly.
And would pretty much be just differently colored stripes and shoes, with some slightly different hues for the black fur. The blue and yellow colors are references to some of the alts that Shadow can get in the Shadow the Hedgehog multiplayer mode. Yes, that game did have a multiplayer, I forgot it did too. The last 2 colors would be a bit more interesting, with this color scheme referencing Mephiles the Dark, the main villain from Sonic 06.
That's a fine
and then
one
an
still.
alternate costume where he wears the...
This can probably just go. This is kind of way too niche for me. What if I gave him an alternate costume where he wore like the blacksmith outfit from Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog? I don't know. I don't like this costume anymore though, so I'll just change this last costume.
unlockable outfit from Sonic Adventure 2.
Why do we have a Sonic 06 references? Because it's still a part of the Sonic history. Like, if there's things in even if a game is bad, if there are things in the game that works, then it's fine. Like, plus, Mephiles the Dark was literally just a shadow recolor. So having and it fits on the colors. Like, this is ignoring that last one. This is a good color spectrum. So I think it's okay.
His stage entrance would also be pretty basic. It would just have him teleport onto the stage. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
For his first taunt, it would have him just cross his arms, then look away like the edgelord that he is.
I'd change that one. It's a little basic.
Ah, dang. Almost made it through the whole video without making a single edgelord joke. Ah well. His next taunt would have...
He is still an edgelord, by the way. I will argue, even in Sonic Adventure 2, which, remember guys, is the game I said where I liked Shadow, I'll still call him an edgelord in that game. Being an edgelord character is not a bad thing. I will argue this. He is an edgelord character by definition. It's fine. Like, I don't like him because he's I don't like him currently, not because he's an edgelord, but because he's a badly written character.
Have him toss a Chaos Emerald into the air while saying,
I'm the coolest.
That taunt I like.
and his last taunt would have him clenching his hand while saying,
This is who I am.
I want to change that one too.
hard not to call him an edgelord when he's so clearly written to be one these days. And finally, for his victory animations. His first would have him run in with a spin and then pose with his arms crossed while saying,
Here we go.
It would have to be way more better. So something I probably should emphasize as well. Whenever I use actual victory animations from their games as references for the victory animations in Smash, I always imagine they wouldn't be animated in the exact same way. They'd be animated to be more energetic, much faster, way more that effectively. So I like the idea of using this victory animation, but they'd have to animate it in a way that makes it just look much more appealing than just kind of this slow build up.
a clear reference to the animation Shadow does when he completes
Like better camera angles, like better posing, things like that. Yeah, more dynamic. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ray.
the stage in Sonic Adventure 2. His second would have him hold his arm up while a Chaos Emerald floats into his hand, then pose while holding the emerald forward. A reference to when Shadow completes a level in the Shadow the Hedgehog
That one's
game
fine.
he gets an emerald. And his last victory animation would have him walk in from the left, cross his arms, and say, Sayonara, then teleport away. A combination of another level complete animation he gets in his own game, while also adding the little touch with Shadow's connection to the word Sayonara.
Sayonara. Shadow. Sayonara.
And
I
that's
forgot I did that. That was so stupid. That last one, the death battle. Alright. The victory animations I think are all fine. I like those. I still like those. Alright, so yeah, so Shadow, minor adjustments mostly, but for the most part he's okay. Like, yeah, so good chunk of his, yeah, well, minor I say. Good chunk of his basic attacks I would change around. Yeah, we changed around the up and down specials. That one costume is 2 taunts, and that's pretty much it for the most part. Alright. Yeah, so very basic things for Shadow. Like, just mostly minor adjustments and special fixes. Okay. Alright, cool. So I definitely streamed way longer today than I thought, but we went through a bit more longer episodes, so it is what it is. Yeah, so I'll definitely continue this next week. I'm enjoying doing this, guys. Just going over with this and just kind of letting my brain juices flow with thinking of, like, you know, like going over my old movesets and whatever, kind of revisiting these. I'm still enjoying these very much. I will say, though, we are going to go ahead and skip Banjo. Because Banjo is already in Smash, I personally don't really see much need to go back to my old movesets to make changes to that, since it's already in Smash anyway. It kind of defeats the purpose. So, yeah. Like, yeah, so Banjo, Steve, and Sora. I'm gonna go ahead and skip those ones. Because they already got official movesets. Not much point in deliberating on what they would be like when we already know what they're like. So, that's just how I'm gonna handle that. I'm still gonna do Rex, because the moveset, even though Pyra and Mithra did make it into Smash, the moveset was for Rex. So, that's how I'm gonna handle that one. But alright. Okay, so that is where I'm going to go ahead and end things off, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. So next time we meet for the revisit series of streams, the next character we will be going over is, I believe, Giovanni in that case. So Giovanni, Crash Bandicoot, Bandana Waddle Dee, and then who was 13? Was 13 May? I think they're no. 13 was Rex. It was Rex. Okay, yeah. So that. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be able... I don't think I'm going to be able to get through 4 episodes, like, It depends on the actual length of the characters. So some streams might only have, like, 2 or 3. Some might have 4, depending on the length of the such. But I'm rambling at this point. Thank you all so much for watching. I will talk to you all later. Have a good night, everyone.